It is 97.7 ESPN, the Zone's Talking Ball, and we are live once again from SEC Media Days. It is day 3. Boy, oh boy, how time flies. Seems like just yesterday we were here on a Monday, kicking everything off. But it is Wednesday, and of course, today's coverage of Talking Ball brought to you by our very good friends, Heary, at Talent Heating and Air.
They are my favorite one. I'm sorry, it's better than the Valentine's Day one.
Talent Heating and Air is today's sponsor of Talking Ball here from SEC Media Days. You can give them a call, 256-503-4490, or you can find them at talenthvac.com. And that's where you can send them a message. Again, it's Talent Heating and Air. They're open 24 hours. Give them a call. They're serving Huntsville and the surrounding areas. Great guys. Great team of guys. And today, you're going to get Alabama, Nick Saban. So make sure you have the 97.7 ESPN, the app downloaded, because if you are at work at 9:05, we will have the entire Nick Saban press conference for you live over our airwaves of 97.7 ESPN, the Zone. Alabama is here, Arkansas is here, Florida and Kentucky. Those are the 4 teams on the draw today.
Yeah, they are. It's going to be a big day. It always is when the King's here, and that's Nick Saban.
Oh, come on. He's lost his touch.
I don't care. Well, whatever, Feinbaum said. Whatever. I mean, get asked a stupid question, give a stupid answer. But, I mean, anyway, Kirby Smart right now has the best program in the country, no question. But The King is still Nick Saban. He's got 7 national championships. He's going for number 8 this year, 7 at Alabama. They're going to have a really good football team. Anxious to see what coach's message is today. Anxious to hear from Mark Stoops. I mean, Kentucky has got an underrated program. We're going to hear from Billy Napier. It's kind of funny. Florida reminds me of this year's LSU. There's not a lot of expectations around them.
Right.
There's a big quarterback question. With Graham Mertz, we'll see, how good they can be, how much better. They were not a great football team last year, did not finish well in the Las Vegas Bowl against Oregon State. So it's going to be, just some interesting storylines, no question about Arkansas. They won their bowl game in Memphis, but as we know, they did not have a great regular season. They've got 2 new coordinators in Dan Enos, who's been at Arkansas before, and then, Travis Williams, the former Auburn linebacker, taking over as the DC. So interesting storylines to cover today, no question about it, and definitely looking forward to it. And we had a good day yesterday, too. We got a chance to hear from Zach Arnett, and I thought that was interesting.
Yep, Hugh Freeze.
Doubt about it. And Hugh Freeze, who definitely, tell he's been here before, very polished. And I would call Hugh Freeze cautiously optimistic, but I think he understands they have some building to do, no question about that. And then, Kirby Smart, he's, fighting against complacency, and that was his message. They are going to continue to get better every day. They truly believe that they've reached the point where they're reloading, and I think they are. And so certainly it was interesting hearing from Kirby yesterday as well.
Yeah, while the king of college football, Nick Saban, is here, there's a lot of people that believe that the king may be still Nick Saban, but does he have the talent? Does he have the team? Does he have everything to reign supreme once again over college football?
Yeah, I mean, they've got a good enough football team. I mean, now you have to stay healthy,
right,
and you've got to stay hungry. Certainly, I think they've made some coaching changes that could benefit them with Kevin Steele returning as DC, having better communication, simplifying the schemes. Travarius Robinson, a proven guy in the secondary that's developed players, taking over the entire secondary, which is going to be interesting to watch. And then Robert Bala. And I thought the inside linebackers took a step back last year. We'll see if they're playing better football this year. Robert Bala has gotten really high reviews since he got to Tuscaloosa. So that's another, question that maybe Nick Saban will get today about Robert Balla and, what he is going to be trying, the impactor, and what he saw in him. I like to pick Coach Saban's brain about what he sees in some of these guys when he's trying to bring in staff members,
right,
and when he's going through the interview process and what draws him to a candidate. And Robert Balla is very interesting.
All right, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. You can be a part of the program, be a part of the show this morning. And coming up here in just a little bit, we're going to hear from Kirby Smart. We're going to hear from Hugh Freeze. We're going to hear from Zach Arnett. We're going to hear from them all as soon as the Bluetooth likes me.
Well, yeah, because we're already getting messages, so we're working on it, guys, everything. So
working on what?
There's no sound on the app, at least not right now.
Oh, there's no sound on the app.
Okay.
Apparently. Okay.
We will definitely be working on that.
Okay, so we're going to get some Hugh Freeze here. I got to get this all figured out as to why my Bluetooth is not wanting to connect to the thing. So I got to press this, right? Okay. And it's telling me that it's – come on. It was there, and then it's not. Two 576-576-4977. That's how you can be a part of the program, be a part of the show. Let's see if this will work here. Okay. Let's see if we can hear Kirby Smart. Now, Kirby was asked yesterday about Georgia's schedule because everybody talks about how easy it's going to be.
Right.
Kirby Smart was asked just that question. What do you say to those that say your schedule is soft?
And come play it. I mean, I'd love to invite any team in the country who wants to play in the SEC. Come right ahead, And I don't get into comparisons year to year, but I'm a big believer in opening with a great game, a great kickoff game. We've done that repeatedly. We've scheduled that out. I think we got UCLA, Ohio State, FSU, Louisville, all in coming years. Clemson next year. We had Oregon, and we had Clemson before that. So a lot of things I can control. I don't control the narrative that people create outside of our building.
Yeah, and I agree with them. I mean, I think it's smart to open with a quality opponent, keeps your guys focused, and I do think their schedule is easier, but it's still the SEC.
Right.
It's still a gauntlet. It's not the Big 12. It's not the Pac-12. You don't have just 1 or 2, 3 big games a year. There's a lot. Everybody guns for you. I mean, it's one of those things where it's a battle of attrition. It's why you need so much quality depth, and it's what Texas and Oklahoma are going to find out about, and they're trying to build toward when they get here in their last year in the Big 12. But we'll see. It's going to be very, very interesting. As I've said many times, the transition of Oklahoma and Texas, because they've had success in the Big 12, especially OU.
Yep.
They took a step back last year. Texas has not really been a factor in the Big 12 since winning it in 2009, and so this will be their last hurrah. Can Sarkisian get them there? A lot of people think so, but you got to go out and prove it. But even if they do, doesn't guarantee you anything once you get here with the big boys in the SEC. But I would just say going forward, and when they first get here, and I'm talking about OU and Texas, they're not, neither one of them is going to be a favorite, in the SEC. There won't be divisions.
Right.
I don't think they'll be in the top 4. I think they'll be in the middle of the pack, and they're going to have to earn their way up because, again, while Texas has indoctrinated themselves a little bit playing Alabama the last 2 years, which I think was smart, Oklahoma tried to play Georgia, as we know. That got canceled.
By the conference, not by Georgia, not by Oklahoma, but it was by the conference.
To play it and
right.
to help themselves get ready, but they didn't allow it. So, again, it's going to be one of those things where I just don't know if either one of them knows what they're getting themselves into. Now, Sark does because he's been in the SEC. I think Texas will have a quicker ascent.
Brent Venables may, though.
Well, it's going to depend how much better OU is this year. But
right.
Venables has coached against SEC squads, but
yes.
There's a difference between coaching in one game and going through the gauntlet, and at least Sark has seen that through the eyes as an OC.
That's not the only question. So there are 2 press conferences for each head coach. One, they meet with the big room or the main room where pretty much all of the writers are, your bloggers, your writers, radio, but then there's also a second room. And the Kirby Smart question came up from the second room. This was another question brought up to Kirby in the main one.
Coach Smart, Drew DeArmond, WZZN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. Speaking of a guy that's been in your program since the beginning, you were with Coach Saban so long. I know he worked with you there. Talk about the development of Glenn Schumann and what he's meant to your program defensively and what he's helped you accomplish thus far.
First off, Glenn Schumann's an incredible man and person. You know, he's a graduate of Alabama. He came there on the Bear Bryant scholarship. His dad played football at Alabama. He's the son of a football coach. He's extremely bright. He's extremely passionate. I rely heavily on Glenn for input on practice schedules, defensive design, thinking outside the box. There's not a time that when I think of who can I ask on my staff that understands what we want and what we need, Glenn Schumann's that guy. He's very talented. You know, and Glenn Schumann will be the first to admit he came to the University of Georgia without ever getting an on-the-field coaching position, and I was very confident in his role to do that. What has he done with that? He has produced one of the most productive inside linebacker rooms in the country, and he's one of the people that really believes in growth being a part of his process, and he continues to grow to this day.
He's a guy that, Drew, you look at Coach Schumann. Does he stay at Georgia? I mean, he's going to be in demand, you think? Another great year for Georgia. I mean, is Georgia going to have to pay a lot to keep him in the future?
Well, they have. They've bumped him up for the last several years. You know, I think he had some opportunities this year, but he decided to stay.
Right.
Georgia's trying to do something historical that hadn't been done since the 1930s in the days of Minnesota Golden Gophers, and you know, and that's three-peat. You know, and I think he and Kirby go back a long way. That's why I wanted to ask that question. I mean, he worked under Kirby and Wesley Neighbors as an analyst at Alabama, and GA, then analyst. And, you know, he was a guy that if he had stayed at Alabama, I think he would have worked his way on the field with Coach Saban. But Kirby gave him an outstanding opportunity as a young coach who didn't have any on-field time yet, and he's taken full advantage of it and developed. He's shown a lot of loyalty, too. I mean, the next step for him will be to run his own defense. And he's a co-DC right now with Will Muschamp, and he's heavily involved with the game planning, as you heard Kirby say. But the next thing would be, I think, to branch out, go somewhere, run his own defense, and if they are an outstanding unit, then he'll have a chance to be a head coach at some point, probably within 5 years. But he's definitely one of the top young defensive minds in all of college football.
Do you think Alabama had interest in him this past? Was Alabama one of those stops for him potentially to run his own defense this past year?
I'm sure they were, but I think Coach Saban focused a lot of it on Jeremy Pruitt in that situation, which ended up being, you know, something that didn't work out. And then Kevin Steele was in Miami, which was a disaster with Mario's first year. But he is very familiar with Coach Steele. Coach Steele's a veteran who's run his defense before and run many defenses. And so it's going to be tough, too, to get Glenn Schumann away. Even though Alabama's his alma mater, you're with the two-time defending national champs. You're with a guy that you're very familiar with, that you've worked with for 15 years or plus with Kirby Smart. He has taken care of you. So a lot of times searches are about timing, and I just think Glenn is going to bide his time, but he's definitely going to have opportunities each and every year. There's no question about that, and well-deserved. And he's also one hell of an inside linebackers coach, too.
All right, 256-576-4977. I almost forgot the phone number like it was changed again. We got to get a break in. More Talking Ball live from SEC Media Days. When we return, we will check in with Hugh Freeze, and North Alabama's own Cam Stutz was here yesterday. We'll hear from him as well.
SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air back in studio with us. And Thomas, those temperatures in the summertime starting to rise once again. You want to make sure you're not left out in the heat. You want some cold AC, give Talent Heating and Air a call.
That's right. If you give us a call, we can generally get out there the same day. So we pride ourselves on the same-day service.
And what's that number?
256-503-4490.
And if those AC units are giving you the blues and you've already called someone else, never fear, give Talent Heating and Air a call because you guys can still come out.
That's right. We do free second opinions on major repairs and quotes. A lot of times we save our customers thousands of dollars and additionally get their units repaired before the other guy could even get started.
And that number for Talent Heating and Air is?
256-503-4490.
And if you can't give Talent Heating and Air a call, you can find them online at
talenthvac.com.
Schedule all your appointment service calls there. Talent Heating and Air. Give them a call or find them online today.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? Two Valley Equipment Rentals. And that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing. Bryant Bankers and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing. Bryant Bankers and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing. Every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing. Every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future.
All right, there we go. Welcome back. Talkin Ball 97.7. With you on said Wednesday morning. Welcome back to the Grand Hyatt here in downtown Nashville. It is day 3 of SEC Media Days. Once again, Alabama will be up first, so make sure at 9 o'clock this morning you are listening to our airwaves as we will play you the entire Nick Saban press conference. Around 9:05 we expect that one to start. So make sure you have the app downloaded to hear that. Yesterday, again, Hugh Freeze was here. He was asked about his quarterback situation, and he did say that Auburn may use 2 quarterbacks this year. He doesn't know, but he doesn't know a lot about his team because, they got to get through fall practice. They got to understand each other. They got to figure some things out. You had also a chance to visit with Hugh Freeze.
Coach Freeze, Drew DeArmond, WZZN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. You've been a great offensive mind and always had a knack for creating explosive plays. And I know after spring, one of the mantras was to add explosiveness to the offense. I wanted to know how you see Brian Battie fitting in, and also Caleb Burton from Ohio State, and how quickly do you teach them your scheme that you just said you've had the same scheme for your entire career?
Yeah, really excited about both those young men you just mentioned. I think Battie, I was really, when we took him, truthfully, I was like, man, this guy's too small to play in this league and run inside the tackles, but he's going to really help us in the return game, and he's really going to help us on some special designed outside runs. And then we get into spring practice and we start running inside zone with him, and the guy's wiggling through holes and falling forward. And man, so I got really, really excited about him, and I think he's going to add great value to us. Caleb Burton, I think his high school tape's phenomenal. Obviously signed with one of the premier programs in the country, and now we're able to get him and have 4 years with him, and hopefully he'll be ready to go and add some playmaking ability to us this year. I think wide receiver wise, for our offense to work that we've always run, we've got to have production there. We've got to be able to win some one-on-ones there, and I think I'm a ways away from saying exactly where I think we are. Two of our better ones didn't go through spring because of injuries, but they seem to be back, and I'm excited to see what they bring in fall camp.
That was Hugh Freeze talking about a couple players there. Hugh Freeze had a lot to say, but the thing is a lot of what Hugh Freeze had to say was, I don't know a lot about our team because of the unknowns.
Well, they got so many transfers, but Brian Battie, he kind of has some Dexter McCluster in him. And I don't know if you remember Dexter.
Yeah.
He was an all-purpose guy for Ole Miss that gave a lot of people problems. And Battie, he's behind Damari Alston, I guess you could say, and then Jarquez Hunter, so there's not a lot of talk about him. But he has the most production of anybody coming back. And I know Jarquez had nearly 700 yards, but what I mean is Battie had over 1,100 at South Florida.
Right.
And in the couple years he was on the squad, he had, he was one of the best kickoff returners in the country. So, and again, they played Power 5 opponents. So, and if you watch the Florida game last year when South Florida easily could have won that game in the swamp, he put on a show. So he may be somebody that's flying under the radar and kind of being undervalued. And then we had Jason Caldwell on with us yesterday, as you remember, and we asked him for a guy on each side of the ball who we might not be talking about right now, but we will be by the middle of the season. He talked about Caleb Burton from Ohio State because he's got a lot of big playability. And then Keldrick Falk, big 288-pound defensive lineman from Highland Home, who's a true freshman who they flipped from Florida State. So I wanted to ask him about Burton because with him, and he didn't play at Ohio State. He basically redshirted. But what's going to matter is, and that's why I asked, how quickly can you learn your scheme?
Right.
Because it's the neck up. A lot of it is the mental part. He can run. He's athletic. But can you learn your assignments, and can you execute all the time, every day like you're supposed to?
So yesterday Auburn brought in 3 players with him. One of them was Cam Stutz.
Yeah, Brooks.
And he went to Brooks High School.
Mm-hmm.
And he was asked about the Brooks community, or the Brooks High School Killen community, how it's helped him kind of grow along the way.
Growing up, man, that family atmosphere, that home environment, man, that was big to me, and supported me all the way. All my coaches, all my family, my friends, everybody. So coming to a place like Auburn, you feel that all the same, and it's just been really big. That was one of the main points in my recruitment. That was the reason I came here. So I've loved it.
Fourth row. Cam, you're up here representing the Auburn offensive line. Anyone from that group who's had a really strong offseason, anyone who's impressed you with the work they've put in the last couple of months?
I think everybody's doing a really good job. I've gave Connor Lew a couple shout-outs. He's, as a young guy that's come in, I'm really impressed with him and excited to see what he does in the future.
Little Cam Stutz.
Yeah, Connor Lew was the guy they flipped from Miami. Some people thought even though he was only a 3-star, he might be the best offensive center in the 2023 class. So he's probably the future at the position, Scott. Tate Johnson right now probably going to get the start in the pivot for Auburn. But I think Connor Lew may play this year at the very least, even if he redshirts. I know they're very confident in down the road that he's going to be a really good player. And then Cam Stutz, his career has flown by. It seems like yesterday he signed with Auburn, but he's grinded. I admire him. He did not leave. He stayed at Auburn. He's been a versatile guy. He started at both guard spots. He could even play some tackle this year.
Right.
We'll see. He's probably going to end up inside, but it's not going to shock me at all, especially considering that he was here yesterday. I know in some ways there's a competition. They've got to continue. More than likely, he's definitely going to be one of the guards, in my opinion, either the right or the left guard, because, they signed Dylan Wade out of the portal. Philip Montgomery was his coach at Tulsa. He's probably going to be your left tackle. No doubt about it. At least that's the way it's looking. And then, of course, they signed the right tackle. Their right tackle is likely going to be the transfer from Western Kentucky. Who I think they've been really impressed with since Gunnar Britton, since he got there. So
right.
Gunner's probably going to be your right tackle. And then you look at, Dylan Wade to be your left tackle, Stutz inside, and then, of course, there'll probably be a competition at the other guard spot. But Stutz being here says a lot about his leadership and the way he's impressed this coaching staff. Plus, he can play either guard spot, which the versatility is key. And so as a senior, a guy that's grinded and been a program guy, he started 8 games a year ago. I wouldn't be surprised if he stays healthy, if he's a stalwart and starts every game for Auburn this year. Lord willing that he's a guy that whose health is good.
All right, 256-576-4977. That is the number to the phone lines. You can be a part of the program, be a part of the show. It is day 3 of SEC Media Days here from the Grand Hyatt Hotel. And again, Alabama will be here today, Arkansas, Florida, and Kentucky. Those are the 4 teams. We've talked a lot about Alabama so far. We'll delve into Arkansas. We'll delve into Billy Napier and the Florida Gators and the Kentucky Wildcats here in just a minute. But the final school that was represented yesterday was Zach Arnett and the Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Obviously, we talked to a lot of different candidates in this offensive coordinator search. All right, and the first question to every single one was, all right, tell me what your offense looks like. What's it going to look like? What's the identity out there? And obviously, you get a lot of different answers. And I think the most refreshing thing, talking to Coach Barberry, Kevin, was when I asked that question, the response was, well, I can't tell you that until we figure out who the best 11 players are. And that was refreshing to hear that level of humility, because that's how I was brought up in this business. The guys I learned from on the other side of the ball was, right, you don't determine what your scheme is on defense, who you line up there, until you figure out who your best players are. Right? Because ultimately, that's the job of a coach, to get your best 11 players on the field. Then obviously you got to have it 2 deep, so you got to figure out who your top 22 are. So to hear that from him, that was refreshing, that level of humility. Kevin's done a really good job everywhere he has been, right? Very efficient on the offensive side of the ball, and yet very good at creating explosive plays. And everywhere he's been, it's looked a little bit different because the players are different, right? Your job on offense is to get the ball in your most explosive players' hands, right? Hopefully in as much space as possible so they can do what they do, right? And he recognizes that. He's been really good at doing it everywhere he's been. Obviously, we got started on that job in spring practice, and we're continuing that process. But we're going to figure out who are the best 11 guys to have out there on the field to give us the best chance to move the ball and score points. If that's 10 personnel, we'll be in 10 personnel. If that's an 11 or 12, we'll be in that. But simply put, right, players and coaches do not influence coaches in the scheme do not influence and affect the players. The players influence the scheme that you run. All right, and so we're going to figure out who our best players are and get them out there in position to be the most successful so we can move the ball and score points.
An interesting way to look at the Bulldog offense this new year.
Well, I mean, just ask John Summerall how good they were. I mean, Appalachian's a really good football team. Yeah. That's where Barbet came from. Ask Dirtneck. His defensive line got dominated in the trenches.
That's true.
I mean, Appalachian just was really, really fundamentally sound. So it's going to be, I just think fascinating to see what he does do with this offense, because you got a quarterback, but now it may look different from the standpoint Will Rogers may get a chance. And, Brian Haydad said this on Monday from Super Talk Mississippi, that he may throw the ball vertically more, and they may take more vertical shots, especially if Woody Marks and this running game is a little bit better for Mississippi State and featured more. I don't know how much different it'll look. I think it will. I think it'll be more balanced, more traditional, but it'll still be a spread concept. But Barbet believes in being physical, and I think that's going to translate well in the SEC. Certainly, and I was impressed with them at Appalachian State because they had no 5 stars. Texas A&M was littered with them, and all I
went
saw
on the road.
And all I saw littered inside, Kyle Field was a bunch of Aggies on their backside because they got it run straight over.
All right, we got to get a break when we come back.
Truth hurts, huh?
Yeah, it does. When we come back, events from SEC Media Days that we got to share with you from outside of SEC Media Days.
And one of our themes today, a river runs through it.
I thought you were going to say chicken.
No, not yet.
657-64977. Oh, the stories we weave.
You're listening to SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison
Ann Adams
on
with
Hughes
Berkshire
Road.
Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or
WoodyAndersonFord.com.
selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Brian Bellamy State Farm. Qualis Corporation.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Brian Bellamy State Farm Insurance, located in the Rosie's Shopping Plaza, strives to help customers find the best auto insurance, home insurance, life insurance, and
Indeed, we could not be here today without two things. One, Talon Heating and Air. They are today's sponsor of Talking Ball here from, what was that?
Harry.
Harry.
Just needed a mallet. Bam!
Did you like that one or the St. Patty's Day one?
Oh, I like the Harry, man.
Okay.
That's what he was trying to say, but he said Harry, which was even better.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Heary.
It's supposed to be hear ye.
Hear ye.
Here it is. There it is.
Yeah,
but
anyway,
Harry was better.
It was. It was. Talon Heating and Air, their team of air conditioning experts, their three owners, Thomas, Terry, and Jeremy. Let me tell you what, three of the nicest guys you will ever meet. And they will take care of you, I promise. If you give them a call, 256-503-4490, they will take care of you. Man, they fantastic job. And we would also not be here without our good friend Arthur Seaton and University Kia, because they are the official transportation providers for Talking Ball here.
And when the river runs through it the last 2 days, yo, Joe, we needed it, man.
Wow, you said Joe in a good way.
Yeah. No, Joe likes chicken. There's nothing wrong with that. Heck, I like alligator, man.
Joe likes chicken.
Yeah.
Yes, Joe.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
That is one thing we've learned. You can go to a New Orleans style restaurant where alligator and shrimp gumbo and everything else is served, and you get chicken.
Yep.
Oh well. That's why Stroker's in the house. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. You can be a part of the show, be a part of the program this morning. So we talked a little bit about Alabama. We know Alabama will be here. Once again, Nick Saban, 9 o'clock this morning, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. But Arkansas will be here as well. And K.J. Jefferson will be on hand for the Arkansas Razorbacks. And you got to wonder what is going to be the storyline there.
Well, bouncing back, man, trying to get back to the top or to the middle of the top 3 or 4 in the SEC, which is where Pittman had the program angled before last year. But their schedule was brutal. They had some injuries. The defense wasn't very good on the back end. The pass rush was good, but they just weren't quite good enough. But we'll see. But now we got our first guest sitting down here. He just arrived at the Grand Hyatt here in Nashville, Tennessee. He is the lead columnist for the Tuscaloosa News. He is filling the shoes of one of the greats, Cecil Hurt, and he's been around the beat a long time and worked for the NFL. Great football mind, Chase Goodred, with us now here on Radio Row. Chase, what's up?
Hey, Drew, how are you, man?
We're doing good, man. How are you?
Good. Just got here, soaking wet. Not stayed at a different hotel and walked through this rain, but made it.
Hey, man, I had a river upstairs in my loft last night from the ceiling, so I'm used to it, brother. I'm telling you.
And we were treated to everything that goes around. And then today we lead into Nick Saban at Alabama. Yesterday, Kirby Smart was dealt with the questions about three-peating and everything, something Nick Saban has gone through here at SEC Media Days. Now today, what do you think Nick is going to – what do you think the conversation is going to be centered around when it comes to Alabama?
Got to start with quarterback, right? You know
Yeah.
you're going to get that question out of the gate, maybe 3 or 4 of them in that realm. So certainly that'd be one. And then, where's the program coming off a year where they couldn't win a division that they typically win? I think those are probably a couple of the storylines that we'll see unfold today.
Well, in your mind, and you worked for the NFL for quite a few years in the draft process, this roster, I think the bones of it is still really talented but young. So what for Alabama to get back atop the West Mountains, what you got to climb to get to Atlanta, in your mind, what are 2 or 3 keys for Alabama?
I think they got to get back to running the football better. I didn't think they did a great job with that last year. They averaged quite a few yards per carry, so
Right.
they didn't do bad in that realm. But they were middle of the pack in the league in terms of yards per game, which is somewhat understandable because, look, you had Bryce Young, you had a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. You just let him do his thing. Maybe you're not going to run the ball for as many yards. But this year, you can't do that. You're not going to have – whoever wins the quarterback job, you're not going to have them slinging it around like Young did. So you better be able to hit it up between the tackles, I think, is one key. And then I think another one is the pass rush. Sans Will Anderson. Is Dallas Turner, who is here today, going to turn it up a little bit? That's very much needed. Chris Braswell maybe too. We'll see.
Is this a case where the quarterback race isn't decided maybe until week 2 of the year? I mean, is this another one of those seasons where Nick has a little bit of time to find someone that moves that offense the way that he wants it?
I think the battle, obviously, it carries through fall camp. I don't think anybody's winning it in camp necessarily, at least not early in camp. Yeah, maybe they're settled on somebody by week 1, but we have seen at times a willingness on Saban's part to play a couple of different quarterbacks early in the season and get a feel for what he's got. You saw it in the opener a few years ago against Southern Cal with Barnett and Hurts. You saw it the year they were juggling around Cooper Bateman and a couple guys. So it could fall that way again, I think, sure.
It kind of reminds me of Phillip Sims and A.J. And A.J. kind of took over at Penn State. Nobody was really sure who would start that game and if there would be another rotation. A.J. took the team all the way down. Now, that team had a defense that was otherworldly.
Right.
The interesting part is going to be this defense. Kevin Steele coming back, as you know, covering this program 3rd time. Very interesting fit there. He's a veteran presence. I thought fundamentally the defense looked better in the spring than it's looked in a while, but they've got to cut out the penalties. That was the big thing. I thought the discipline slipped on that side of the ball last year, Chase.
It did. I mean, they were one of the most heavily penalized teams in the league, maybe the most, if I'm not mistaken. At least at one point they were. So, absolutely, that's got to get cleaned up. And I think the safety position is one to watch too because you got new faces there. Malachi Moore looks like he's going to handle one of those safety spots. He's not a new face. He's got a lot of experience, and so does Kool-Aid McKinstry. But you're going to be playing 5 DBs, and McKinstry and Moore are by far your most experienced guys in the secondary. So that leaves 3 spots where maybe you don't quite know what you're going to get.
When's the last time that we've sat here at SEC Media Days and have had more than 1 or 2, even 3 unknowns with an Alabama football team?
It's been a while. I think there's definitely a couple more questions about this team than we're used to seeing. But, things like even for Alabama, it can run in cycles on you for sure. Like Drew said, I do think there's a whole lot of talent, but there are more unknowns, I think, than what Alabama fans are used to seeing.
Well, and I do think this, though. I think Jason McClellan started looking like himself the latter third of the season last year. So we didn't see a ton of him in the spring, but I think we'll see a lot more of him in the fall. And then Justice Haynes, he just seems to have the same kind of mentality and temperament that Mark Ingram did when Ingram burst onto the scene. And Mark didn't have spring. He signed late. He was from the Midwest, so they get out of school later. But from the jump, and, of course, I wasn't covering the team in the media at that point. But, as soon as you saw him against Clemson, it was just you sort of knew that this kid was different. Haynes, I had the same feeling. I don't know, what are your thoughts?
Thought he looked really talented. I sure did on A-Day, and I think somewhat similar to Ingram. He's definitely got some power. I think he can break away too. But what's also going to be interesting is who else is going to be in that mix, right? Because Nick Saban doesn't roll with one guy.
No, he doesn't.
He likes to mix in two backs at least. Occasionally you'll see him work a third back in there, but between McClellan and Haynes, I think those two will probably end up getting the lion's share of it.
Is there more pressure on the running back spot this year than the wide receiver spot? Because that wide receiver spot was okay last year. It's hard to duplicate the last couple of years with the first-round draft picks, but is the running back spot now the spotlight more than the wide receiver position?
Even though I think they're going to lean on the running game more, to me, there's still more pressure on the wide receiving core because of the year they had last year. There were too many drops, plain and simple. The route running wasn't as crisp, I don't think, as we've seen frequently. And those guys are talented, but you got to catch the football. And there were some frustrating moments in that regard for Young at times last year. So, to me, I think the wide receivers stepping up is probably a little bit more of a pressure area.
And then finally, Chase, we appreciate the few minutes. On each side of the ball, I asked this to Jason Caldwell for Auburn, and he gave us a couple interesting names to watch that maybe people weren't focusing on. As you've studied the roster yourself, maybe offensively and defensively, who's a guy or two that maybe the fans aren't talking about that you're watching closely?
Can't wait to see how Tyler Booker develops at guard. Obviously, he got in there last year and played some good football on a kind of a part-time basis. And it was obvious the coaching staff loves him because of the way he rotated in with the ones in meaningful games at meaningful times in meaningful games, right? Mm-hmm. So I think he's got the potential to be one of the very best guards in the league. And, defensively, Jaheim Otis, I think he may step up as well. It's going to be fun to see what he does. He was solid last year for sure as a run defender. Can he maybe take a step in the pass rush department, kind of shrink the pocket a little bit? That's something to watch. And Terry and Arnold, he's another one to keep an eye on at that corner spot.
Yeah, because everybody going to be looking at Kool-Aid, and he'd have to step up on the other side. Great stuff, Chase. We appreciate the time and just getting here. And everybody follow it at Chase Goodbread, Tuscaloosa News. Always appreciate it, brother.
All right, enjoyed it, fellas.
Thanks, Chase.
Yep.
All right, let's get a break in. Time from SEC Media Days at the Grand Hyatt in Nashville.
You're listening to SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air back in studio with us. And Thomas, those temperatures in the summertime starting to rise once again. You want to make sure you're not left out in the heat. You want some cold AC, give Talent Heating and Air a call.
That's right. If you give us a call, we can generally get out there the same day. So we pride ourselves on the same-day service.
And what's that number?
256-503-4490.
And if those AC units are giving you the blues and you've already called someone else, never fear, give Talent Heating and Air a call because you guys can still come out.
That's right. We do free second opinions on major repairs and quotes. A lot of times we save our customers thousands of dollars and additionally get their units repaired before the other guy could even get started.
And that number for Talent Heating and Air is?
256-503-4490.
And if you can't give Talent Heating and Air a call, you can find them online at?
TalentHVAC.com.
Schedule all your appointment service calls there. Talent Heating and Air. Give them a call or find them online today.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and a 10-year unlimited warranty. Toyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details. And welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Judy Armand with you. You never know what's going to happen here, and those lights dimmed a little bit ago, about 2 seconds ago, and enough to get your heart rate up about 10 beats per minute there. Did you see that?
I did not see the blinking lights.
Oh, it went down. We didn't lose them, but it went down.
They did it in Huntsville, too, so we're just glad our power's on back at the ranch.
Well, we're knocking on the table now, softly.
Yeah, there we go. Softly today, guys. I didn't mean to knock it out yesterday. I got mad.
We're knocking on the table that something doesn't happen. Something has happened every day we've been here. But, again, we're here today because of Talent Heating and Air, 256-503-4490. Give them a call. You can send them a message at talenthvac.com. It is Talent Heating and Air. You can book your appointments online. They offer solutions to fit your needs. They package systems. They got heat pumps, mini split systems. Give them a call. Thomas, Terry, Jeremy, a combined experience of over 40 years. They stand by their commitment to their customers, their comfort in Huntsville and surrounding areas. And if last night's storms rolled through and knocked out your AC or something is wrong, make sure you give them a call, 256-503-4490. Bailey, are the phone lines cattywampus still?
We got you, Bailey.
Wouldn't be a road trip if we couldn't hear Bailey. Anyway, that's all right. We'll figure it out as we go along. Florida and Kentucky will be the afternoon session here. We talked a little bit about Arkansas. We've talked a lot about Alabama. And, of course, the players here for Alabama today, you got J.C. Latham, you got Kool-Aid McKinstry, Dallas Turner. They're expected to arrive within the next 8 minutes. Between around 8 and 9, the players are expected to arrive. The afternoon session, they get to sleep in, hit the snooze button a little bit. The Florida Gators and the Kentucky Wildcats, Billy Napier and one Mark Stoops will be here in the afternoon.
Yeah, he will, no doubt. Mark Stoops is going to be here, and interesting because he brought Liam Cohen back as his OC, who had a lot of success with Will Levis 2 years ago. They've got Devin Leary, who Freddie Maggard told us a few weeks ago when I was on the drive that he's a better fit for this offense than Will Levis. Devin Leary was very productive at NC State. He's a transfer that's kind of flown under the radar. He decided to leave Dave Doran's program and come to Kentucky, and I think a lot of it was Liam Cohen and his success at UK a couple years ago when they had Mark Stoops' best offense, most balanced offense, the power run with being able to spread it out, throw the football around. So I thought that was a good move by Mark Stoops. Scangarello came over from the 49ers, just didn't fit really well. It just never seemed to have a rhythm to it. And so Liam Cohen comes back from the Rams to take over to the QBs and take over this offense again for Kentucky. And Kentucky's going to be good defensively. I think that's one of the more underrated things is Stoops and his ability to put together good staffs, because he's lost guys like Matt House and John Summerall, who John Summerall's doing a great job at Troy and won 11 games last year and would have won 12 if it wasn't for a miracle against Appalachian. I mean, his team was better than Texas A&M's if you look at the eye test. And so, again, I think that he also cut his teeth under, Mark Stoops. So I just think that Kentucky program is an underrated one.
Right.
I think it's been very consistent since Coach Stoops got it rolling, and I think they're my solid pick for third in the SEC East.
Is that where Kentucky is I don't want to say pigeonholed every year to be in 3, because maybe someday Kentucky can break through, have that year where they win the East, where everything comes together, lightning in a bottle, everything happens. But is Kentucky resigned to being no better than third in the East right now? I mean, that's not a slight on Mark Stoops. It's not something against Mark Stoops. It's not something bad for the program. It's a credit to Mark Stoops, actually. But is that as good as Kentucky can get right now?
No, I think they could. There's a scenario if Joe Milton, implodes or gets injured. We don't know how good Nico Iamaleava is right now. We do know we'd like his stock options, but that's about all we know.
Right.
So Kentucky could finish second in the division. I just don't think they're as good as Georgia. Their roster's not as good, but they can beat Tennessee. They have in the past. Pretty much in the East, that's the only opponent that Mark Stoops hasn't been able to solve, and that's Georgia. Other than that, he's climbed every mountain and jumped over every opponent that he needs to. And this Kentucky program is the most consistent it's ever been. So, have they hit the ceiling yet? I don't think so.
Right.
I mean, because it took him a while to get Liam Cohen in there because their passing game had always lacked. Well, Liam Cohen kind of showed them the way with that, and then he and Liam kind of helped to develop Will Levis. I thought Levis took a step back last year, but he's still very, very talented. Got a lot of arm talent. We'll see how he does with the Tennessee Titans, and now we'll see if Devin Leary has a big year, and that's 2 quarterbacks now that Liam Cohen helps raise their profile.
Right.
It's going to really help recruiting at the quarterback position for Kentucky.
And we assume, based on last year, what Tennessee did with Hendon Hooker and exploding and becoming the second-best team in the East last year, that Tennessee is going to come out and perform like that again this year. Tennessee could take a step back this year. Joe Milton, as you mentioned, could implode. Things may not go as smoothly for Tennessee. Is the East as unpredictable after the top as the West?
Unpredictable, potentially. I think, as I've said before, I didn't think, coming into this, and I still think you can make cases for others. I don't think you can just say, okay, definitively this team is the third, is going to finish third in the West or third in the East. I think the divisions are pretty wide open after when you look at Alabama and LSU and then Georgia and Tennessee, because I do think Tennessee is that talented.
Okay.
I think, but after that, when you talk about 3 through 7, I think both divisions can be wide open. And I mean, I just like Kentucky getting Liam Cohen back, and I like their stability. I think they've got more material right now than Florida. Florida's coming, but I just don't know yet if they can put it all together.
Are they coming like a freight train?
I didn't have to listen to a freight train the last 2 nights, so I'm not going to talk about freight trains.
Oh, because you're a chicken.
Well, just YouTube and a river runs through it. You can look that up.
Well, you have
or a yellow submarine.
You have a creek right now. You don't have a river. You have a creek.
Or a crick.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Hear ye, hear ye.
We got a couple-minute break here. We're going to kick off hour number 2 of hour number 3. That's right. We're on until 10 o'clock once again.
You're listening to SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable. And easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go. And make we recognize your time is valuable. And easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go. And make we recognize your time is valuable. And easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go. And make we recognize your time is valuable. And easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we want to make sure you're not left out in the heat. You want summertime heating and air back in studio with us and Thomas. Before summertime starting, once again, we want to make sure you're not left out in the heat. You want summertime heating and air studio with us and Thomas. AC units are giving summertime. You already called someone else. Never fear, give Talent Heating and Air a call. You guys can still come out. That's right. We do 3-second rentals on major repairs and quotes. You want to save $1,000 and additionally get their unit repaired before the other guy could even get started. That number for Talent Heating and Air is 256-503-4980. And if you can't give Talent Heating and Air a call, you can find them online at talenthdc.com. Schedule all your appointment service calls there. Talent Heating and Air. Give them a call or find them online today. Right specialist for your recovery and sports med orthopedic surgery and spine center. We understand that every recovery is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our sports med specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life form. Our locations at Nashville, Mount, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com, allowing you to perform and return to the living line. You've got to experience Toyota fun at Penny Toyota. They've got on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. They've got the extras with Bill Penny and a 10-year warranty. So get on over.
There we go. Welcome back, Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I don't know what's going on. There we go.
Sounds like a river runs through it.
Well, so I'm not on Bluetooth. I forget that the computer's not on Bluetooth. And if I have the stream open, which I did, because I know the phone lines may be a little cattywampus right now, but you can go ahead and try to give us a call, 256-576-4977. You can also join us on YouTube. Head to our YouTube page, WZZN TV, 977 ESPN The Zone, and you can send us your comments there if you want to. If you can't call in, or you can join us on Facebook. Send us your comments there on Facebook. So I had those open, and that's why we were hearing triple the commercials, because it's a long story, but we were hearing triple commercials in our air. And so we are back here at the Grand Hyatt, downtown Nashville. Beautiful venue. It's been a beautiful venue, our first trip here for SEC Media Days. We have obviously been in Hoover, been in Atlanta. We're here. Next year we'll be in Dallas at the Omni. Alabama is set to arrive here within the next few minutes, and the players will start making their rounds, early rounds here in Nashville. So hopefully we will be joined by maybe J.C. Latham, Kool-Aid McKinstry, or Dallas Turner. And, of course, we would not be here without Talent Heating and Air today, so we thank them for their sponsorship of Talkin Ball here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. It would not be an Alabama day if fans were not in the lobby. And once again, as we got here, 6:30, 6:40 this morning, there were already Alabama fans in the lobby of the Grand Hyatt. So while the venues may change, well, apparently now they're lined up. We just heard that they were all lined up down there in the lobby.
Well, we heard the players were coming at 8.
Yeah.
And so the Alabama contingent, we've already seen Roger Hoover of the Crimson Tide Sports Network here, so they're starting to arrive. So a lot of people are going to be here when Elvis is in the building.
Well, I was talking, the fans, I mean, there was the guy dressed downstairs.
Nacho Alabama.
Yeah, the big old hammer and stuff. And
yeah.
Like I said,
he will be in Texas, I'm pretty sure.
You think he'll make his way to Dallas?
And if we go to St. Louis and pray for us, then he'll probably be there too.
See, the drive to St. Louis for us
Yeah.
is actually faster than it is to go to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
We can be to St. Louis faster. And I know that drive. I could do that one with my eyes closed.
And you probably will do that drive.
It's very easy.
Mm-hmm.
The drive to Dallas is easy, too, because we get to go to Texarkana.
Oh, for some Coors? That would be awesome. And it ain't bootlegging now.
It is not, but we could try.
Hold on to your ass, Fred.
We could do it. We could drive from Huntsville to Texarkana, let Tokyo get behind the wheel, and
oh man,
we could turn this into Smokey and the Bandit 4.
We really could. Oh my goodness. Bill, put the bill to B. I gotta go.
Anyway, we're still going to be with you. We do not have to go. We're going to be with
Right.
you until 10 o'clock this morning because Talking Ball is with you until 10 here at SEC Media Days. Yesterday, we did hear from Hugh Freeze. We've heard from Cam Stutz, but they were not the only ones here from the Auburn contingents. Luke,
upon those, so
Luke Deal was here as well, tied in
from
Auburn,
South Carolina.
Yeah, here is just a minute of Luke Deal.
Luke, we talked earlier about the multiple tight end room and having multiple sets where there's multiple tight ends. One of the things I was interested in is that sometimes the opposing defenses can tell when a certain tight end personnel is in its run, when another's in its pass. Do you feel like your tight end room is versatile enough that opposing defenses will not be able to tell whether it's run or pass, that you guys are hybrid enough to be both?
well, yes, sir, that's the goal. And that's kind of what we worked on over this offseason is just for everybody to some of our weaker points, strengthen those, and some of our strengths, continue to build upon those. So, yeah, we're very versatile. We're very deep. We're a very mature room. So I think that's going to be very attainable for us to be a versatile offense and for us to not be a very easily picked off offense as well.
Second row, left side.
Hey, Luke, what do you think were some of the main strides you guys made in the spring? I know it was kind of interesting settling in with a new offense, getting a bunch of pieces in there, but what are the biggest steps you guys think you took? And you as an offensive leader, kind of what are you setting the table for to grow in fall camp?
Yeah, so the first thing, like you said, the learning a new offense is always a challenge. I've learned a few now, and some younger guys don't really understand how to go about that, the best way to go about that. So I think just learning the offense at a good pace, learning it and refining our new techniques and everything that goes with that. We've done that this summer, last spring, and also, like you said, off field. I mean, we've had a bunch of transfers, a bunch of recruits come in and join this team. So being able to build relationships with those guys, get to know them, get to know their story, their why, that's been a huge part of our offseason program so far.
Left side, fourth row.
Dan Peck, ESPN 106.7 in Auburn. Luke, what can you say about newly arrived transfer quarterback Peyton Thorne?
Yeah, I think Peyton's an incredible leader. He's a really good guy. I've gotten to know him on a personal level. I really like his leadership qualities that he brings. He's got that savvy quarterback demeanor that you look for in a quarterback. And he's somebody that I think will help us one way or another. He'll help us in our strides this year.
That is Luke Deal, tied in for the Auburn Tigers. A couple interesting comments there. One about new players or younger players having to learn the new coach, learn how to go through things, and the leadership ability of Peyton Thorne, who we assume probably has a great chance to be that starting quarterback there at Auburn, transferring from Michigan State.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Hugh Freeze said some things about him yesterday that were interesting. Like when he first got there, he wanted the names of everybody that worked in the football building, so he knew everyone's name. He wanted to familiarize himself, not just with the players, but with the entire organization, which shows great leadership. He won a lot of games for Mel Tucker. Mel probably ought to put him in his will because Mel's making $9.5 million now. He's making David Shaw money and getting David Shaw results right now. So We'll see what happens.
You are not far from the truth with that
I
one.
mean, he had one decent year, and Michigan State kind of panicked. We'll see if Mel can get it turned around. Mel's a really good defensive coach, no doubt about that, though. And then the thing about Luke is he may not start. Rivaldo Fairweather was one of the top transfer portal targets, and Luke kind of referenced that, welcoming in all these people. Rivaldo was from FIU, Florida International, and so he's a dynamic kind of flex tight end. Luke is more your traditional guy. So Hugh may use, depending on what he thinks his best personnel place is, Hugh may end up doing some double tight end stuff. So we'll see. So which means Luke Deal and Fairweather will be heavily involved. Fairweather will probably be your mismatch guy. And don't forget, Hugh Freeze had Evan Ingram doing that, and he's making a lot of money with the Jacksonville Jaguars right now as an outstanding, kind of flex tight end down the field. So I think that's probably what Auburn's plans are going to be for Rivaldo Fairweather.
All right, 256-576-4977. You can join the program, join the show this morning. Elijah McAllister was also in the house for the Auburn Tigers yesterday. And here is just a brief note from Elijah McAllister, defensive back.
Just want to express my gratitude for all you guys here and my appreciation for you taking the time out to spend your day here with some amazing athletes. And thank you. War Eagle, let's do it.
Okay, who has a microphone for the first question? Okay, right here on the aisle.
Hey, Elijah, I just kind of wanted to ask, some of your former Vanderbilt teammates were in here this morning talking about the leadership that you brought to that program. I guess, how special is it, A, for you to be back here in Nashville, where you obviously played for so many years, and B, what do you think it was about your impact that you made at Auburn that made you a selection for this after you've only been on campus 6 or 7 months?
It feels great to be back in Nashville, a place I've shared many experiences with a lot of people, but the best part about it is I'm here representing the Auburn family. And I think you talked about leadership. What makes my leadership unique is my connectivity, my ability to be consistent every single day. And that shows up in how I play and how I interact with my teammates.
Right side, second row.
Daryl Dapprich, Locked On Auburn. Elijah, due to the craziness of the SEC schedule, I mean, you've heard that Auburn is one of the toughest places for opposing players to play. You have not played in Jordan-Hare Stadium because Vanderbilt hasn't played there in a long time. How much are you looking forward to getting in front of the orange and blue, the home crowd, and playing in that atmosphere?
I'm so excited and blessed to have the opportunity to play in front of the Auburn faithful, and I'm excited to be able to represent them the best way I know how by making plays and be able to be in a stadium where the fans are for you, they're excited, and they love their football. So I'm very excited to experience that.
Left side, fourth row.
Elijah, Dan Peck, ESPN 106.7 in Auburn. And what can you say about the other guys playing your position there, the Jack room at Auburn, and what you've gotten to see since you arrived on campus?
The Jack position room is unique. We all have different skill sets. We all have different experience levels. We all have different things that we can bring to the table to elevate our defense and elevate the team in a lot of different ways. So I'm excited to put that on tape every single Saturday. And what was the second question you asked? Okay, great.
A little bit of Elijah McAllister, the Vanderbilt transfer.
And let's one small. He is actually an edge. He's going to be a Jack kind of edge rusher.
Right.
He's a two-time captain at Vanderbilt. Clark Lee had a lot of great things to say about him. Great length, high character guy, somebody that led that Vanderbilt defense up front for a couple years, started every game. Auburn, they suffered severe personnel losses, at the Jack spot and at the edge spot, no question about it. So they've got to replace those guys. And Elijah McAllister is somebody obviously that's a veteran that's played a lot of snaps within the conference.
Yep.
And I think that's why they believe they like some of their young guys. And a guy like Kedrick Falk, who Jason Caldwell mentioned to us yesterday, he's already almost outgrown the Jack/edge spot. He's 288 pounds, so he's going to have his hand in the dirt pretty much from the jump. He'll be trying to replace a guy like Wooten, who was a great player. He's going to be a Seahawk, who was, I believe, a third-round draft choice who brought the wood. And so I just think overall, Elijah McAllister is going to be, though, a big part of it. Anybody that's already got a degree from Vanderbilt's a very intelligent guy. Clark Lee's a cerebral guy. Defensively, a defensive-oriented person, a guy that was a DC at Notre Dame for 3 years for Brian Kelly. And so that means McAllister's probably going to be able to pick up on Ron Roberts' defense quickly. Already has, and I think they've got him heavily in the mix for playing time. And certainly when you hear from him, He's extremely intelligent, and I think that's going to help. And his maturity will help bring along some of the younger guys that they've brought in the recruiting class to play that edge spot.
All right, 8:14. Let's get that break in. It's Talking Ball. We're live from SEC Media Days at the Grand Hyatt in Nashville, thanks to our good friends Talent Heating and Air.
Heary.
What was that?
Heary.
There you go. We'll be right back.
You're listening to SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison
Ann Adams
on
with
Hughes
Berkshire
Road.
Hathaway
Or
Rise Real Estate is
visit
the one name to know if you're buying or
WoodyAndersonFord.com.
selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
You're listening to SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air back in studio with us. And Thomas, those temperatures in the summertime starting to rise once again. You want to make sure you're not left out in the heat. You want some cold AC, give Talent Heating and Air a call.
That's right. Give Talent Heating and Air a call. If you're listening to our stream, we can stop a commercial mid-sentence. But Van Halen bringing us in.
But I did trot.
You did trot.
Well,
yes.
I didn't realize the break was about over. I was trying to.
I did see the trot.
Yeah.
That's what I said. We wanted to give you Chariots of Fire. We wanted to put it in slow motion. And
everybody bear with us. Our phone lines are still out. We had a lot of electrical issues last night.
Well, yeah.
Lost power.
Well, we hope everybody's safe back at home.
Right.
And we hope everybody gets power and everybody gets back there. We had a little bit of storms blow through here yesterday, enough so that it canceled the free Midland concert down on Broadway. The SEC brought in Midland, was going to bring in Midland last night, put it down on Broadway and have a big old fest down there on Broadway, but they canceled that.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no Midland concert last night. So we partook in some New Orleans food.
We
and it was good.
Did. It was really good.
Was it good?
Man, so good I couldn't finish everything.
The Banana Foster's pudding that I had for dessert last night.
Yep.
Whew.
And then we exposed our digital wonder kid over here
Yes.
to gator bites, which was very interesting.
We did, but he balked at a po' boy or gumbo.
But he
or,
had Nashville hot chicken, or excuse me, why did I say chicken?
Oh,
Nashville hot popcorn, though.
Yeah, so here at SEC Media Days, they had bags of Nashville hot popcorn for everybody
got one,
yesterday.
But I'm not eating it till I go home because I'm gonna have to be near my refrigerator. It's brand new, but not meaning to advertise, but still, I mean, it's fully loaded. I'm probably gonna need
on
it.
this show, we don't care.
We probably don't.
We do. We should, but we don't. The Nashville hot popcorn.
Yeah.
Apparently was a whole nother level of hot.
Oh, that's what I've been hearing, man. No question about it. It's a whole nother level of hot, no question. And we'll see. But going to be an interesting football season. And today, you know, it's interesting. We just talked to our good friend Ryan Fowler, who's hopefully going to join us later in the show, that we've been here for a lot of these, Scott, where everything seemed to rotate around Alabama, and Alabama was the show. Right now, I guess it's Georgia.
Well,
because there was more energy in the building yesterday.
That's the feeling that I was trying to parlay at the top of the show was if this was in Hoover and Alabama was there, there's just that level of anticipation. There's that level of excitement when Alabama comes into the building. And yesterday, that feeling was centered around Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. That was that feeling yesterday with Georgia. Today, we're so used to walking into a building, an SEC Media Day building, on a day where Alabama is set to be here, and that excitement level, that eagerness, that energy, that anticipation is not there. Now, that doesn't mean when Nick Saban walks in that the level won't ramp up and that the level won't be there. I'm just saying the lead in to when Alabama is arriving is not what it has been in the past. Is that because we're in Nashville, not in Hoover?
No, because I think there's a lot of energy in Atlanta last year, but I just think what Georgia's accomplished the last 2 years, winning back-to-back championships, which Saban did in 11 and 12, it's significant. And Georgia's a heavy favorite to win this league. They're a heavy favorite to repeat as a three-time champ. And Alabama, they may not even be the favorite by the media to win the West because of the quarterback question. And you heard Trace Goodbread of the Tuscaloosa News, who joined us in hour one, as he said, you know, there's no guarantee, the Alabama, they've got some holes to fill and some guys that need to step up in order to win the division, no doubt about it.
So
we'll see.
let me ask you this, and Ryan Fowler may be able to help us out with that as well. When was the last time Alabama was not favored to win the West coming out of SEC Media Days? Because when LSU won the West a couple years ago, they weren't picked to win the West.
Well, I don't think they were picked in 2008, but I believe LSU was. But
so do we got to go all the way back to 2009 before the last time Alabama did not come out of SEC Media Days picked to win the West?
That's huge. That is huge.
Is that the last time, right?
I'd have to look. It's in here. Is it not
I don't know if it is or not.
I have a pretty solid memory because Alabama was coming off a national championship in 2009. They were the favorite in 10.
Right.
And then, they lost 3 in 10, but then they came back in 11. And Auburn had won the national championship, but suffered significant losses.
Well, this is only the
including
SEC.
Cam Newton.
it's only the SEC.
Cam Newton,
not the divisions. But
I just think overall,
and listen, when y'all see players walk in, I'll jump up and let the mic be available, and I can come back and talk
it's
to you guys.
free flow radio, man.
I know it is.
You told me a long time ago in this show, and that's what we're trying to do now is have fun.
Have fun. I write it at the top of my page.
We've
every
had
day.
fun.
We've got a plaque up in the studio. It says right above the door, "Have fun, Ryan." So
have fun.
All you need to do.
That's what we're doing.
Have fun. Tease well. It's
all you need to do is say ding dongs, and
we were told we were told that our friends from Alabama were going to be coming down.
Yeah, and then they went up the escalator from what we're told. So we don't know. We just have to have free flowing radio, man.
Well, last year we thought they were going up and they went down. So
you know.
Well, it's one of those
things.
Did
you guys catch that?
Yeah, I caught it. But
I mean, we thought they were going up, and
they went down.
They went down.
Are they still
Alabama's
down?
Not the favorite, man.
Still down below Georgia, though, right? I mean, this is Georgia's conference now.
They are the king right now. The temporary king's what I call it. But I'd like to remind people, if you think about Georgia, you're talking about the king of the SEC. Win 15 championships in this league and call me back. Right now, Alabama's more than doubled them up. 29 championships, titles in the Southeastern Conference. They have 14. So.
Yeah.
You know, I do miss the fans here because we used to be able to identify when the coaches were coming in by the loud roar.
That's true.
By all the cameras and the entourages. No doubt about it.
I expect that they will come down. They're expected to be there at 9:05. I'm expecting they'll go down the elevator in just a couple of minutes. I think they went to the green room, got, their makeup.
Well,
Scott, you're a TV guy. You know what
they're doing this year. They're doing pictures, so they're putting all the coaches and players in front of neon lit signs, and they're taking pictures with all of the players this year. If so, I imagine that's probably where they ushered the players into.
But it's like I said, I have fun when this event. I love when Coach Saban because he always brings an agenda to Nashville. I'm excited to hear what's on his mind. I mean, I don't know if he's going to double down on NIL like he did back in SEC spring meetings. But, hey, listen, it's we cover the greatest college football coach. We'll tell stories 40 years from now.
Right.
We'll be in our retirement home. Like, I remember the day.
Well, speaking of retirement homes, I thought Feinbaum should have gone to one yesterday after that ridiculousness.
Y'all have an affiliation with him. I don't.
We do, but that doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't?
It doesn't matter.
So,
look,
if he would have stopped at the legacy comment,
right?
If he would have went through and said, "Listen, that was not a great coach team last year," then that would have been
a disappointment. It was.
I mean, he said it was he said his staff did not coach well. Drew, you and I would. We
would admit that. He said he had the two best players in college football and didn't win. But you got to have 22 though.
But when he went that last sentence and talked about the legacy. That's where he stepped out and made him look like a fool.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. He's got 7 national championships. I mean, Kirby's the king right now, but he's got 2, and Kirby was fortunate to win them both because of Alabama's injury report and because of Marvin Harrison Jr. getting a concussion. If they don't, then Georgia hadn't got both these, and the Georgia fans are comparing him to Mark Richt, and they're like, we're so close, but you've got to get over the hump, and there's even more pressure. But now he can have the job for the next 20 years. Georgia fans don't care because he won the national championship, won it twice, and he's been able to do what Richt couldn't do. And again, Georgia's expectations are not Alabama's. Alabama is not Georgia.
Yeah.
Because Alabama, you got to feed the beast every year. Now, Georgia's going to learn that. They're trying to get to that point, but they haven't completely got there yet. It's just, you got to do it for over a decade.
Complacency sets in, guys. I mean, there's a reason why nobody's ever won 3 in a row. I mean, you got to go back to Minnesota in the early 30s, pre-AP poll, 31, 32, 33, or maybe it's 30, 31, 32. But, I mean, that's prior to the Associated Press being even out there. So we're talking, 90 years. Mm-hmm. And you're already seeing it in their schedule. See, that's the thing that benefits you when you've got a decent schedule. It challenges you to be ready day one.
Right.
They can put it on cruise control from now until
he was asked about that. We played a comment about that, and he was asked in the room about Georgia's schedule, and he kind of just laughed, and Kirby's response was, well, come play it. I mean, come to the SEC and play that schedule. But as for Nick Saban, how many questions do you think he's going to get today, not about his team, but about NIL and playing a 9-game conference schedule? Do you think he'll get more questions on that or about his team?
Well, go ahead, Drew.
Go ahead, Ryan.
No.
Because there's a national media here. I mean, the people in the state of Alabama have asked him a lot about that already.
It's going to be about the team. It's not going to be about the NIL. It's not going to be.
Just saying, there's a lot of national media.
Drew. I disagree. I think the NIL is going to be a topic because they know they're going to get that buzzword. They're going to get that headline. I'm telling you. Talking about the backup quarterback and the quarterback on the national level does some, but I'm telling you, that NIL, because what they can do is drive a wedge between Texas A&M and Alabama with what Ross McGeorge said a couple of weeks ago, right? He looked at the NCAA and said, we don't care. We're going to do our state laws. We're going to abide by them.
Well, they may ask him about the trip to D.C. I understand that and how much progress they think they made, but I still think most of the questions are going to be about this team and the progress of this team and what went wrong last year, and does he think, what areas, the discipline, the penalties, what they've got to fix in order to win the division.
Drew. Totally agree. And, I mean, there's 40 minutes in there. I mean, and there's 15 over in the electronic room, so you'll have time to work in a lot of different questions. So, there will be, and at this point, I keep looking around because I'm ready to throw on a mic for J.C. Latham for you guys, and let this big guy get up and, I want to know this. I had Blake Brockemeyer on, 10-year NFL veteran a couple of weeks ago.
That's right.
The dad of
24/7 Sports.
Yeah, and so he said, listen, to give that quarterback a peace of mind, I'd flip J.C. Latham yesterday to left tackle. And he said, and I said, well, what do you do with Caden Proctor? He said, play him at right, flip him at left next year. So, and Saban's been known to do that, right?
He might. I mean, Ross Piersbacher worked at center for a whole spring and then early fall and then switched to guard.
That's right.
I mean, we'll see if they do that. It's going to depend on how much weight Caden Proctor has lost, how much progress Elijah Pritchett's made. I still think the bones of the offensive line are there to have the best one in the SEC, and if not the country, but they have to get the spots right. But I think all three of those guys are three of their best five, though, and that's what you got to do is get your best five on the field. And I said that on your show, and I'm saying it here. They've got to get the spots worked out. I still think Proctor's home this year might be at guard, but we will see. It depends on Pritchett and, his knee bend. And, he had a bad A-Day, but I think he had a good spring before that, though. And so we'll see how much progress he's made.
But is it not scary that he didn't go up against the best edge guys and he still struggled?
Well, I mean, I think he did go up against some of the best edge guys before A-Day and did a good job. That you can have one bad game, man. That doesn't define your career. I mean,
but Dallas Turner, did he not miss all spring?
I mean, they both did. Him and
but I mean, our first Alabama player coming down the line.
I will say this.
I tell you what. Hold on, guys.
Darius Robinson.
We got to get. Let's get a quick 2-minute break in real fast right now, Bailey. Actually, hold on. Let's hold on for a second here because they were coming down this way, and I want to make sure that we get them in.
Right.
I want to make sure that we get them in before it looks like we might. I see Steve down there trying to get one. Bailey, let's get a quick break in. We may have to interrupt the break, but let's go ahead and get this 30 break in real fast.
Let's go get the break in. Get it.
You're listening to SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air back in studio with us. And Thomas, those temperatures in the summertime starting to rise once again. You want to make sure you're not left out in the heat. You want some cold AC, give Talent Heating and Air a call.
That's right. If you give us a call, we can generally get out there the same day. So we pride ourselves on the same day service.
And what's that number?
256-503-4490.
And if those AC units are giving you the blues and you've already called someone else, never fear. Give Talent Heating and Air a call because you guys can still come out.
That's right. We do free second opinions on major repairs and quotes. A lot of times we save our customers thousands of dollars and additionally get their units repaired before the other guy could even get started.
And that number for Talent Heating and Air is?
256-503-4490.
And if you can't give Talent Heating and Air a call, you can find them online at
talenthvac.com.
Schedule all your appointment service calls there. Talent Heating and Air. Give them a call or find them online today.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Sunglasses on it and inside go. Sunglasses on inside.
Normally when you...
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Steven Gonzalez is with him. We're not having to deal with Alex. The guy with him is Steven Gonzalez. These ones for JC. I know. I didn't think he was at first, though. Maybe there's some glare. Yeah, that's what I thought. He's got to do that. He'll do that.
Maybe stretch this segment. Did y'all already do the segment? And go
No,
to break?
we have not done it yet.
Just stretch it a tick because we're going to do Joe and then us.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
We might get them both at the same time.
Oh, Lord. I'll take it if they give us 10 minutes.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you inside the Grand Hyatt Hotel here in downtown Nashville. It's SEC Media Days, day number 3. Alabama has arrived. The players are making their rounds. J.C. Latham, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and Dallas Turner are all here. And in fact, we are going to be joined now by an Alabama player. He's making his way right here, Roland.
It's Dallas Turner.
It is, but it looks like he's stopping to visit with Ryan Fowler first.
Media row.
Yeah,
Dallas
so
Turner is.
he is here.
Very dapper.
But so is I believe J.C. Latham as well.
Yep.
But Drew, he's wearing his sunglasses inside.
Well, he put them on. He's going to take them off. We're not going to wear our sunglasses, inside all the time here. We're not Texas ATM.
He wore them for that last interview, though.
There was probably some glare in his eye or something, man. He's not wearing them all over the place. He wasn't wearing them when I saw him. This is not a 5-7 program.
Oh, but the sky is falling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Depends who you ask.
Well, it's falling outside, but luckily we're inside.
All right. I tell you what, we've got Dallas Turner coming up here. We got Kool-Aid McKinstry. We got J.C. Latham. Ryan Fowler's talking to him right now, so let's get one break in so then we can push it all the way to the top of the hour and we can bring you all of the Alabama action here from the Grand Hyatt Hotel for Day 3 of SEC Media Days.
You're listening to SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air back in studio with us. And Thomas, those temperatures in the summertime starting to rise once again. You want to make sure you're not left out in the heat. You want some cold AC, give Talent Heating and Air a call.
That's right. If you give us a call, we can generally get out there the same day. So we pride ourselves on the same day service.
And what's that number?
256-503-4490.
And if those AC units are giving you the blues and you've already called someone else, never fear, give Talent Heating and Air a call because you guys can still come out.
That's right. We do free second opinions on major repairs and quotes. A lot of times we save our customers thousands of dollars and additionally get their units repaired before the other guy could even get started.
And that number for Talent Heating and Air is?
256-503-4490.
And if you can't give Talent Heating and Air a call, you can find them online at
talenthvac.com.
Schedule all your appointment service calls there. Talent Heating and Air. Give them a call or
Bailey,
find them
bring us
online
back.
today.
Bring us back.
You want the right specialist.
Bailey, bring us back.
And welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you live inside the Grand Hyatt Hotel. And if you are going to the Grand Hyatt, you better look good. And if you are going to SEC Media Days, you better look good. And wow.
And we are joined by preseason All-American right tackle, or if he's on the right side, we'll ask him about that.
Yeah.
Certainly offensive tackle lineage at Alabama has been unbelievable since Nick Saban took over. Started with Andre Smith back in 2007. Tyler Steen now in the NFL. And our next guest has those plans as well, and it's Jason Media Row, Radio Row, Nashville, Tennessee.
Radio Row, yeah.
Yep. JC, how are you, man? No, great to have you, man. That's a great question. I know you had a great run at right tackle last year. You spent some time at right guard as a freshman.
Yes, sir.
What I know you had a great spring. We were just asked this question earlier in the hour. Where do you see yourself on the O-line heading into fall camp?
I've been taking a lot of right tackle reps, but honestly, it's wherever coach needs me to be. If he needs me to be at left tackle or even at guard, I can play anywhere. So just understanding what the team needs and whatever we need to be the best, I'm down to do it.
Is there one that you feel more comfortable with, or is that an interchangeable position where if you can play left, you can play left, or you can play right, you can play right?
I know I'm versatile, so wherever he needs me to be, so I'm comfortable wherever.
And then talk about your relationship with Coach Wolf. Obviously, you guys took to him well last year. He helped you transition from inside to out, and you played a lot of tackle in high school at IMG Academy. That's a big reason why you came to Alabama is the player development. Talk about your relationship with Coach Wolford.
My relationship with Coach Wolf, I see him as like family, honestly. We've been through a lot together since he's been here. Understanding that when he first got here, we didn't have a great season last year as an O-line in particular. So just understanding the first thing he said when he came into the meeting was that he blames himself. Even though he wasn't here, he'll take all the blame for it, take accountability for it. So I knew that off the rip, like that's like a great leader right there. So I knew he had a lot of passion behind his coaching. I knew he had a lot of love behind the game. So everything that he's taught me technique-wise, mental-wise, even off-the-field aspects, I just see that as someone who like just looks after his own, and he does that with everybody in the group. So just seeing what he's been doing over the past year and a half, going on 2 years now, it's just been really special. I think we got a great group with us.
How tough was that last year, going through those offensive line and knowing you guys aren't performing the way you want to perform, the way that the standard had been set, and maybe not your standards and the Alabama standards? How tough was that to kind of go through some?
It was tough. We had to be mentally ready to accept the fact that we were coming off of that year of a loss of a national championship, and previously before that we won the Joe Moore. So the standard was already set high. So it was tough having those 2 years, especially last year too, not reaching our goals. So, I mean, we just learned from it.
Yeah.
It's experience. I just told somebody else that that's life's best teacher, experience. Learning from your losses, learning how to take it, and learning what you need to do to be better.
And careers go by so quickly at Alabama. I mean, you're now already a rising junior. What kind of role have you taken with Caden Proctor and Elijah Pritchett? Guys, Pritchett was hurt last year, but went through his first spring, and then Proctor. Talk about mentoring them, because they're going to look to you a lot for leadership.
Just trying to be there whenever they need me. I sit right next to Elijah Pritchett and Caden Proctor, I think, since 2 seats down from me. So anything they need me to do, I'll be there for them, whether it's working out or off-the-field aspects or watching film. I put all of the tackles in the group chat. We obviously got an O-line group chat, but I put all the tackles in the group chat. And just let them know, like, yeah, if you guys have any questions or if you guys are confused on the look or whatever the case may be, I'm here for you to let you know, because we're all trying to compete at the end of the day, but we're all trying to win as a group. So.
All right, final question for you. How do you like it when you hear that Alabama's going to be really physical up front?
I love it.
Is that what
I love it. Yeah, that's the goal, man. Like, this year we're going to inspire fear. Like, guys aren't going to want to play against us. We're going to hit them in the mouth 4 quarters straight and get in, get out, and do our job.
Well, we look forward to it, man. Stay healthy, and we appreciate the time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, J.C. Latham with us, man. Whew.
I'm telling you.
Those hands.
Exactly. Put your hands on you. It's over.
Wow.
Thank him for his time today.
Looking good, though, too.
Absolutely. Looking dapper. And, you know, he's got a bright future, whether it's at right or left. I think it's going to be the right side, because I think he and Booker are going to be the war daddies with this group. They're going to be the best right side in college football. I'm really looking forward to that. And, you know, I think they can set the tone. You heard him talk about the 20 group, which was, the Joe Moore Award winner. That's what they want to do. They want to get back to being dominant and being a dominant group. And I think the pieces are there. They just have to have guys like Pritchett and Proctor, mature quickly. And if they do that, I think they're going to be fine, man. But, I just really think overall that JC's next. I think he's the next first rounder, the next elite player to come out of the group. Steen ended up a 3rd-round pick. I think he's going to be a very solid pro. He may end up moving inside to guard. But JC is going to be that dude, and then Proctor is going to take up, and maybe Pritchett. We'll see. Okay. But Alabama, you can argue it's as star-studded a position as there's any in Nick Saban's tenure, putting out studs both at the right and the left tackle spot. Well, he really picked up the energy, too, when we mentioned that Alabama's going to be physical this year. That they're getting it back to that physicality, that mentality of pushing you around for 4 quarters. And I think that's something a lot of Alabama fans are going to like to hear. Oh, and there's no question about it. They want to get back to putting, their hand in the dirt, knocking people off the ball. I thought they got back to it the last third of the year last season. Okay. Bryce Young was still the definition of that football team in the face, but they made things easier on him, and I think Coach Wolf kind of figured out the formula. Now they've just got to get the right pieces in place along that O-line, and if they do, I think Alabama's going to be fine. So I think I like where this team is right now. I like the mindset of the group. I don't mind, Georgia being the favorite, and in some ways, LSU having the spotlight on them. That's fine with me. I think this Alabama team just needs to keep grinding. They need to keep working, and I think they're going to be really good. I think the quarterback position is going to play itself out. I like all the bones, and I've used that term a lot lately, around the quarterback and even defensively with Coach Steele coming in there as a veteran hand who's been through the wars. He's been at big-time programs before. He's been in these big games, these battles, and so no question about it. that I think really that Alabama has a chance to be special, and I think this group does. I mean, they're gonna have to have some young guys mature quickly on offense and defense. We haven't talked a ton about Caleb Downs, but he's going to be a big part of that defense at safety. He's got to assert himself. A guy that's kind of flying under the radars, Jihad Campbell, who's a sophomore who played at the same school that JC did in high school at IMG Academy. I think Robert Bala has been really helping his development. I think in the spring you saw some flashes from Jihad, so I think he's another guy to watch for Alabama that could definitely come on defensively.
Once again, all of this coverage today from SEC Media Days Day 3 brought to you by Talent Heating and Air. You can give them a call, 256-503-4490, or you can find them at talenthvac.com. We just had J.C. Latham joining us, and Drew, they list him as 6'6", 345.
And I believe it. Because I think he can pick me up and throw me over that stanchion. And I weigh 275 pounds, okay?
After shaking his hand, wow.
I'm putting that out there. Maybe I shouldn't, but I am.
I mean, Wes Neighbors played along the offensive line.
I am not a small person, and I felt small. Okay?
I know. I was just saying, well, Wes Neighbors played along the offensive line. Wes has big hands. If you've ever shaken Wes' hands, Wes has big hands. J.C. Latham.
Hey, we had a great story last night. We watched a late 80s college football game with Wes.
We did.
And we got a lot of coaching pointers.
That would be it was the Florida Ole Miss game back
from 1989.
Yeah, back
when some dude named Emmitt Smith was running the ball.
And you thought I was serious when I said, well, what did he ever go on to do?
Well, it just took me aback there. That sarcasm, I was just a little bit, I was still full of Cajun food, okay?
Oh, full of something. All right, so coming up here, don't forget at 9 o'clock, 9:05, I should say, Nick Saban will be over our airwaves. He will have about a 45-minute conversation, and you will be able to hear the entire press conference with Nick Saban coming up at 9:05. Again, brought to you by our good friends at Talent Heating and Air. We are waiting for Kool-Aid McKinstry and Dallas Turner to make their way over here. We are expected to have both of them coming up here within the next minute or so. The pitch is, the feverish pitch is starting to pick up here inside the Grand Hyatt Hotel. Now, outside the weather is not great, but inside it's starting to warm up a little bit. The feverish pitch is starting to pick up as the Alabama players are starting to make their rounds, and we believe Dallas Turner is headed his way here next, or Kool-Aid McKinstry. They both are walking around here, and Steve Moulton doing his best to steer them to this direction. But
oh yeah, herding cats.
Oh, basically it is, and we are on the move again, and I believe that's Kool-Aid McKinstry.
That's Kool-Aid McKinstry right there, yes, and he's making his rounds, no doubt about it. And so we will see, what ends up happening here in the next few minutes. But certainly it was great to catch up with J.C. Latham, who's going to be a linchpin on that offensive line and going to be a big-time contributor, no doubt about it.
What's Kool-Aid going to –
he has a chance to be the best corner in college football. I thought he took a huge leap in year 2. Yeah. He started getting on the field a lot at the end of his freshman year. He's always loved the lights. I watched him at Pinson Valley High School, both on the football field, and the basketball court. He's an outstanding talent. But I think he also has the dog in him and the work. You got to put in the work to be great, and I think he's done that. I thought, honestly, I didn't see a better corner in the country last year. We'll see if he continues at that level. I think he's got a chance to. He's certainly got a lot of individual ability and is a punt returner. He hasn't had a ton of opportunities because they've punted away from him quite a bit, but I still think he can make a lot of plays in that aspect of the game too, in special teams. I don't think we'll see him on the offensive side of the ball situationally. I think they've got enough pieces over there offensively, and you need Kool-Aid to be out there, and I'm talking about in every package. He's going to be a guy that can take away half the field. That's why you heard Chase Goodbread mention Terrion Arnold earlier this morning in hour 1, is because Terrion Arnold he split time last year at the corner spot, and played well the first half of the season. Then didn't play as much down the stretch, but I still think he's got a chance to be a really good football player, no doubt about it. I thought he took some steps forward in the spring with his physicality and with his consistency. And I think Terrion Arnold and Kool-Aid McKinstry could be as good as any corner duo in the Southeastern Conference.
All right, so Alabama still making their rounds again. Once again, 9:05, Nick Saban over our airwaves here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And obviously you will put your hand in the air, hopefully get a microphone for Nick Saban. What do you want to ask Nick? What direction are you going in?
Well, you got to be prepared, man. You got to have 2 or 3 A, B, and C. You got to because
maybe
there's going to be
Nick,
a lot of questions.
you got to get down to E.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. But certainly there's enough questions on both sides of the ball to get some good stuff. And, we'll see. But I really think overall when you look at it, I really want to. I'd like to delve into the coordinator, spots and what the thought process was there with the coordinators. What he saw in Tommy Rees, especially in the quarterback development aspect. I'd also like to ask him about the temperament of some young players that impressed him, the approach Caleb Downs and Justice Haynes have had, the maturity, how they look, if that's something that, that they saw early on in the recruiting process kind of that drew them to those guys. So going to be really interesting to find out what happens there.
So Steve Moulton looks like he got Dallas Turner.
Yeah, it looks like Steve's getting us some audio from Dallas Turner on the move. So Dallas Turner probably headed to do some TV stuff now, but we'll see. And Kool-Aid McKinstry looked like he was headed in the same direction. And so Steve Moulton.
Looks like we may have only gotten J.C. Latham today.
Trying to be resourceful there, and we'll see.
There comes Nick. And here comes our first look at Coach Saban this morning, walking right by the table here. There is Coach Saban.
He will be headed very shortly in about 10 minutes to the main media room. So Coach Saban with a nice entourage with him and the morning coffee.
Well, he is going into looks like he's making that back route in. The commissioner of the SEC, Greg Sankey, going to take to the stage here in about 5 minutes as he starts to warm up the introduction and warm up the crowd. And so, Bailey, it looks like we will be able to take that top of the hour break as scheduled. So make sure that we do take that top of the hour break here in about another minute and a half. So this is Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We've been live from day 3 of SEC Media Days here at the Grand Hyatt. The Alabama Crimson Tide up first this morning. Now, coming up later at 10:30, Sam Pittman, he will be live. So you'll be able to check in on Sam Pittman later in the day. Then Billy Napier will be live at 1 o'clock. So that is right during the Czar show. So at 1 o'clock, you'll be able to listen to some Billy Napier. And then Mark Stoops does not come on till later in the day, so you'll have to wait until the drive. But 2:25 is when Mark Stoops will be.
And our signal is strong this morning. We appreciate everybody for working hard to keep us on the air. Loud and clear in Russellville this morning, Scott. So
Russellville.
So we are coming in strong.
Woo, that is
People
good to hear.
And we appreciate that.
That is good to hear. And, of course, we did play some audio from our good friend over there with the Auburn Tigers, Cam Stutz.
Stutz and Luke Deal we brought you during this hour.
So we had a lot of good stuff, but we are about done with hour number 2 here of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. When we come back, we will shift the attention to Nick Saban. He is expected to make his opening comments around 9:05 this morning here, and make sure you have the 97.7 ESPN, the app downloaded. So if you got to go into your work or your business or wherever you have to go, all you got to do is download the app, click it, open it up, and you'll be able to hear Nick Saban for about 35, 40 minutes coming your way from the Grand Hyatt Hotel here in downtown Nashville, where it's just kind of stormy, kind of gloomy type of day today.
Well, it's been a good day, though, and going to be a better one. Nick Saban coming up, the king.
Yeah.
Elvis is in the building.
Well, J.C. Latham sat here with his sunglasses on, though, the whole entire interview.
Well, he may have. That's fine, but he's the best tackle in America.
Well, he's got the biggest hands, I'll tell you that. Good night.
Yep.
I mean, that was – I hate to feel sorry for whoever is going to line up on the other side of that on the defensive side of the ball. All right, Hour 2 is in the books. Hour 3 is going to kick off in a couple minutes. We're going to set the table. Nick Saban expected to come our way at 9:05 over the airwaves here. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold-certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison
Ann Adams
on
with
Hughes
Berkshire
Road.
Hathaway
Or
Rise Real Estate is
visit
the one name to know if you're buying or
WoodyAndersonFord.com.
selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413.
Hour 3. There we go. Now we are back. Kind of jumped the gun there just a little bit. This is hour number 3 of Talking Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Trudy Arman with you, hanging out inside the Grand Hyatt Hotel here in downtown Nashville. Of course, today's coverage brought to you by our very, and I mean very good friends over at Talent Heating and Air. Give them a call, 256-503-4490. That is Talent Heating and Air. They do package systems, heat pumps, mini split systems. Thomas, Terry, and Jeremy, how about that? A combined experience of over 40 years. They stand by their commitment to the customers and comfort in Huntsville and surrounding areas. And if the storms came through yesterday, messed up your air conditioning unit, if you need to get somebody out there to look at it, 256-503-4490. It is Talent Heating and Air. Now coming up here in just about 4 minutes, Alabama head coach Nick Saban will address the media. And we are just awaiting Greg Sankey to step up to the podium and introduce the coach. That's coming up here in just a minute. So it should be a great day. We will play the entire Nick Saban press conference for you. We're going to carry it for you in its entirety right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Also, if you are stuck inside your office or whatever, and you don't have the app downloaded, make sure you head to our YouTube page, WCZN TV, and you can listen to it. You won't be able to see Nick's picture, but you'll be able to listen to the entire press conference there. So you can always have the app downloaded, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Search your app store or marketplace, have it handy. And then you can also head to WZZN TV on our YouTube page. That is also where you can find all of the press conferences from day 1 and day 2. So you've got Georgia, Auburn, Mississippi State. You got Vanderbilt. You got Missouri. You got all of them there. Texas A&M, LSU. Just head to our YouTube page, and you can watch all of the press conferences from the entire 2 days. And same way with day 3. Once it's all complete or middle of the afternoon, check it back, and you'll be able to listen and watch Alabama, Kentucky, Florida, and Arkansas. When Alabama's here, you tend to forget. In the past, I should say, you tend to forget who are the other schools following Nick Saban. But today, boy, oh boy, yesterday Georgia was the king. Kirby Smart had an entourage around him all day. Nick Saban walked by here a couple minutes ago, and that entourage is looking smaller and smaller. It's almost like another day here at SEC Media Days. That's what it kind of feels like.
Did have that feel downstairs a little bit too, not quite as chaotic as what we normally have in Hoover. But well, I did notice something.
Even last year, though, in Atlanta, there
were
a ton of Alabama fans in the College Football Hall of Fame. There was probably, close to 100 Alabama fans in the lobby of the College Football Hall of Fame. And today, that number, and we're not throwing dirt on Alabama. We're not burying Alabama.
No.
It is just
facts.
The tide has kind of changed a little bit, so to speak. Georgia is the king right now, and Kirby Smart yesterday got a lot of that attention. Nick Saban in Alabama today getting the attention, but not nearly as much as what we've been seeing.
I agree with you, what you said earlier with Ryan Fowler, over-under NIL questions.
Man.
I'm going to set it at 3. Wow. Okay, that's scary. I'm going to set it at 3.
Well, let's get you to Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, as he gets ready to set to introduce Alabama head coach Nick Saban.
University of Alabama will be our first coach this morning. Nick's led teams to 7 national championships. He has won 8 National Coach of the Year awards and 10 SEC championship, following Bryce Young's Heisman Trophy award-winning year in 2021. Nick has now coached 4 Heisman Trophy winners. When you look at that in historical context, he joins Notre Dame's Frank Leahy for the most Heisman Trophy winners coached in college history. Nick and his wife Terry have been married for 51 years, and he's also more experienced at grandparenting than I am, so we just compared some notes, went through a learning experience about being a grandfather. He and Terry, through their Nick's Kids Foundation, have raised over $11 million, or $11 million has been distributed to various causes in the Tuscaloosa area, including over 150 charities. They have rebuilt 18 homes under Habitat for Humanity, syncing up with the number of national titles won by Alabama's football program. First coach of the morning, head coach at the University of Alabama, Nick Saban.
Wow, that was quite a fanfare. I appreciate that. Great to see everyone. I hope you've had a wonderful summer. We've certainly had our share of good times, family times this summer. SEC Media Day is, one of my favorites because this means we are closer to football season. This is kind of the unofficial kickoff for football season from my standpoint, and maybe from yours as well. This is the first time we've been in Nashville, and I think this is a great place, and certainly in the heart of SEC country, and a great venue for all of us. I think you all know that we went on vacation to Italy. Just to clear that up, that was our 50th wedding anniversary gift to Miss Terry from some of our friends, which I successfully got out of for 2 years. Failed to be able to get out of it this year. Didn't really want to go, but it was a fabulous time. Fabulous, and I would recommend anybody do it. Lots of good culture, great architecture, art, a lot of good things to see. And I thought nobody would know us anywhere that we went, and we got roll-tided everywhere we went. So even in the Ferrari plant, you know, we had a tour of the Ferrari plant, and these cats don't even speak English, and we're getting roll-tide. So I guess we must have a pretty decent brand. I'm talking about the University of Alabama now, but it was an enjoyable trip, and I'd recommend it to anyone. We've had a very good off-season, you know, with our team. Good off-season program, good spring practice, very good summer. The team is taking shape. We're still evolving as a team. Lots of new players, some experienced players to go with some of the good young players that we have in the program. New coaches, evolving into the system and trying to get the young players on our team to be able to develop in the system. And so far the players are very enthusiastic and very committed to developing the talent that we have on our team. And I think that that's, you know, a critical piece of sort of growing your team and developing your team, is that you can take the talent that you have and create the right mindset to go with that talent, because talent alone is not going to help them be successful, because they're heading someplace in the SEC as well as in the NFL if they have the opportunity to get there, where everybody has talent. So if you don't have the right mindset to go with it, then you're never going to bring that talent to fruition, nor will you be able to create the kind of competitive spirit that you need. And we're talking about having resiliency and perseverance and ability to overcome adversity and the discipline to pay attention to detail and do the little things right. And one thing that kind of goes with all that is humility. You know, when you have humility, you always think there's a better way. So you're always searching, you're always listening, you're always trying to learn. And therefore you develop really good relationships with teachers, parents, coaches, and people who are trying to help you. And you have gratitude and you appreciate that. And that creates for great relationships, you know, on your team. And if you just think you're really, really good and you're better than everybody else, then sometimes you don't take those and develop those relationships with the same amount of gratitude, and you don't have the same kind of team chemistry that goes with players and coaches alike. So we want to stay focused on the process of what we need to do to play winning football at every position. And I'm not here to create expectations for our team. Lots of people will do that, but expectations in some way are a premeditated way to create disappointment. And I think you can look at it in your life, and that's why I say we need to stay process-oriented, not focused on the outcome, but focused on the things that we need to do to get the outcome that we want. And, you know, if you have high expectations for what you want to accomplish and it doesn't work out, it makes you focus on the outcome, and it doesn't work out, and you're very disappointed. So we would rather stay focused on what we need to do to get the outcome necessary to be the best that we can be as a team at every position and with every player. You know, we've had really good success in a lot of areas in our program, but one that I'd like to mention is academics. You know, you're really going to college to prepare yourself for the day you can't play football. That's what we always tell our players. So we want our players to have the personal development that's going to help them create the right mindset to be successful in whatever they choose to do. And we also want them to develop a career off the field, which I think is very important to long-term success because, you know, NFL stands for not for long. You know, there's only a 3.5, 4-year life expectancy in that league, so it's important for players to develop a career off the field. And we've had a tremendous amount of success. I think we're in the top 5 in the country in APR at 995. Our team, for the second time in the history of the University of Alabama, has over a 3-point grade point average. And we have like 650 players that have earned degrees since 2007, and we've been there. So this is one of the challenges, I think, to have a program that creates tremendous value for players on and off the field. The 3 players that we have here today, J.C. Latham, Kool-Aid, Dallas Turner, all are on track to graduate. You know they're all really good players at their position. They've been great ambassadors for the University of Alabama in terms of the class and character that they have, and we're very, very proud of who they are as people, students, and players. The NFL draft was pretty good to us. Again, this year we had 10 players drafted, 3 first-round guys. We've had 123 players drafted in our time in Alabama and 44 first-round draft picks, which this is a part of what we want to do too, help players develop a career on the field. And that's really important to us. You know, we have some new coaches that I've been asked about, 2 new coordinators, which it's always the most difficult to replace people on your staff that are in positions of leadership. But Tommy Reese is a bright young guy who's done a really, really good job. Players relate well to him. He relates well to them. He's a good presenter. He's very bright and understands the game conceptually very, very well, and has done a really good job of implementing our offense and adding to it things that I think will benefit us in the future. Kevin Steele is a longtime defensive coordinator in this league. He's coached with us a couple times before, so he knows the system, he knows what's expected. And Robert Bala is a new inside linebackers coach. So our team has worked really hard. I'm encouraged by the progress that the team has made. I think every team has to create its own identity by what they do in terms of how they come together as a team, how people buy into the principles and values of the organization, respect and trust those things, respect and trust each other, have positive energy about how they go about their work and how they impact and affect other people. And everybody's got to learn to be responsible for their own self-determination. You know, football is a great game to take responsibility to do my job, but you also have a responsibility to the other 10 guys to do your job because they're all depending on you, so we're all depending on each other. Football is one of the most interdependent games of any game played, where everybody has to do their job for things to work out like you want it to work out. So I think we've got some good young talent on our team. I think we've got some experience on our team. I think we have a pretty good mindset on our team. Our team seems to be, you know, pretty hungry this year and motivated. Like all teams, we probably have some issues that are created by graduations and people leaving the program. Obviously, the number one that people are most interested in is the quarterback. We had a great quarterback, won a Heisman Trophy. Bryce did a fantastic job for us. So we have 3 guys that are competing for that position right now. All those players are getting better, and it's important for us that all those players get better. I don't think anybody has actually separated themselves yet to this point, and I don't think it's something that we're trying to rush. I used the analogy earlier, you know, Grandma Saban used to bake the best cakes in the world, and I used to stand by the oven when I was a kid and say, when's this cake going to be done? When's this cake going to be done? And she said, if I don't let it go through and take it out of the oven too soon, it's going to turn to mush, so it won't be a really good cake. So I think we got to let this sort of develop and make sure we let the cake bake until somebody separates themselves, and all the players are working hard. They all have a good attitude. They're all competing well. At other positions on offense, we probably, I think, are improved. The receivers are same guys, older, more experienced. We've got good runners. Offensive line, Doesn't have a lot of experience returning, but we have some really good young players who have developed nicely. Tight end, we have a transfer that can help us there, and some young guys that are developing. Defensively, we've got 6 starters back. All 5 guys that left got drafted, so challenging to replace all those guys. But again, I'm pleased with the young people that we have in the program that can develop, even though they may lack some experience. I think they're probably guys that can do a good job for us. We do have both specialists back. Special teams has been an asset for us, and certainly we want to continue to be able to affect games and impact games with how we play on special teams, and having 2 good specialists certainly is a good start toward that. So with that, I'll allow you to ask questions.
Thank you, Coach. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll start right here in the front. I think we'll start right here in the front of me, Coach. Dennis?
Nick, hi, Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports. By one preseason magazine metric, you've got one of the least experienced returning teams in the country, senior starters, percentage of yards coming back. Are you aware of that? Does that matter? Should it matter?
Can you repeat the question for me?
You've got one of the least experienced teams returning, just based on starters, returning yards, stuff like that, by one preseason magazine in the country. Should that matter? Does it matter? It's something you think about?
Well, I think experience matters. I really do. But I also think that when you have young players who are hungry and have great energy and enthusiasm, that's helpful to the team chemistry as well. And when you have as many people that go out for the draft early, and I'm not complaining about that. I love it when we have players that are good enough to go out for the draft. You're going to sort of always have a young team, because you have 4 or 5 starters who would be coming back that all of a sudden are not back. And I think one of the things that I tell all of our coaches and the players, our entire team, it's really important that we develop the young players on our team, because we're always going to have a young team, and those guys need to be able to contribute early on. So their development is critical to us having a successful team, and we do have some good young players, and I think the challenge is for us as coaches to be able to help those guys develop to where they can play winning football.
Coach, we're going to go over to our right-hand side, the middle section. Wilson, right there.
Good morning, Coach. Johnny Ballpark Franks with Franks Media here in Nashville and Huntsville. First of all, I want to congratulate you with your 16th appearance representing Alabama at SEC Media Days. You now have the record for one coach at a single institution in SEC Media Days history. When you think about your tenure at Alabama, what are you most proud of so far, and what is the recipe for future success while avoiding complacency?
Well, the thing that I would be most proud of is the fact that we have a program that has helped players have a chance to be more successful in life because they were involved in the program. That's the number one thing, because that's the number one goal that we have in our program, and that I personally have for the players in our program. And we're going to continue, to do that. And to answer the second part of your question is, every season is a new challenge. It's like you took a new job. You have returning players that need to develop new roles on the team, whether it's leadership or play a new position. And you have a lot of young players who are coming in that you need to develop to help them be able to play at a certain level so that you can accomplish some of the goals and aspirations that the team has for themselves in terms of what they want to accomplish individually and collectively. So, and I never look back at the past. It's always about the future. And most of the things that I remember about the past are the games we didn't win, the national championship games that we lost, the games that we lost a year ago on the last play of the game, and how that impacted our chances to have a successful season and accomplish the goals that the players wanted to accomplish, and how we could have impacted that in a more positive way. I'm always looking for a better way. and always looking at what can we do to be better. And that's what we continue to try to focus on in the future, and that's a challenge that we have with every team, and this team will be no different.
Coach, we'll stay in the same section over on the right aisle.
Nick back here. Wilson Alexander from The Advocate. Nick, you've of course placed both the coordinators before and have to do so again this year. What are the particular processes and challenges that go into getting these coaches and players to mesh in time for the season this season?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is probably relationships. I think leadership, when you're a coordinator, you're in a leadership position for the players on that side of the ball. So to have good relationships in terms of how you present, how you motivate, and the players trusting and respecting in the things that you're trying to implement, the things that we do, that they trust and believe that that's going to help them be successful. So that's number one. Number two, we've tried to mitigate the changes that a new coordinator would create for players by trying to keep the same system. And that's a little challenging sometimes when you have new coaches, because they have to learn a certain amount to be able to implement the system so it doesn't change completely for the players. But I'm really pleased with the two new coordinators that we have. Kevin Steele obviously has been with us before, so he kind of understands the program and the expectation. And, you know, Tommy Reese is one of the brightest young guys I've seen for a long time in this business, so he's been a great addition and brought a lot of positives to the offensive side of the ball. In terms of his ideas and how he relates to players, how he presents to players. His energy and enthusiasm on the field has been contagious, and I think I see a great trust in our players with Tommy and what he tries to do from a leadership standpoint on offense.
Coach, we'll go in the section straight in front of me, third row.
Good morning, Coach. Michael Giddens, Warport, Auburn. You've been adamant about player accountability as it pertains to their actions both on and off the field. You had a high-profile suspension in Tony Mitchell. It appears he's been able to earn reinstatement. Can you talk about what things players can do to regain the trust of the staff after these types of incidents off the field?
Look, I think there's probably some occasion where most of us in this room, including myself, did something in our life that probably wasn't a great choice and a great decision. And we always want to try to create a path for players who have made a mistake to get a second chance, but also to help educate them on what they can learn from the poor decision or judgment that they actually made. And hopefully those things don't affect other people. I think it's much more serious when those things affect other people. And so hopefully the penalties and the time missed and the education received are all going to be beneficial to the learning experience of this young man, so that he has an opportunity to get an education, become a better person, that has a better chance to be successful in life, and also can contribute to the team. So there's a process that we try to go through when we can give players a second chance. If players continue to make mistakes over and over and over and over and don't seem to learn and make progress, they'll lose the respect of their teammates. And I think that when that occurs, then maybe it would be better if the guy was not involved in the program and would take opportunity someplace else. But that hasn't happened with Tony Mitchell.
Coach, we'll go to the section in the middle on the right-hand side. Go ahead, right here, second row.
Hey, Coach. Matt Cohen, AO.com. I wanted to ask, now that he's back in the conference, kind of what is your relationship with Hugh Freeze, especially now that he's on the other side of the Iron Bowl from you?
Well, I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for Hugh Freeze. He's a good friend. I thought he did a great job when he was at Ole Miss. He obviously did a really good job at Liberty, and I'm sure he'll do a very good job at Auburn. So I have a tremendous amount of respect for him as a coach, and I think his history as a coach sort of speaks for itself. He's a good recruiter. They had really good players at Ole Miss when he was there, and I'm sure they'll do the same thing in this current position. So, look, I'm friends with a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys out there that work for me and did a great job, but that doesn't mean that you can't respect them, but you do have to compete against them, and that's part of it. You know, when I play golf, I play with some of my best friends, but they want to beat me and I want to beat them, and that's okay. But when the game is over, you're still friends, and that's the way it'll be probably with this. It's a great rivalry, the Iron Bowl, and being successful in that game usually has some significant impact on the SEC and the West Division. So it's a game that's really, really important to us to try to continue to be able to do the things that we need to do to be able to have success. And, you know, when we play down there, it's always been challenging.
Coach, we'll go right in front of my table on the first row. Teresa.
Over there. Teresa Walker with the Associated Press. Coach, you talk about, you know, losing players to the draft, having young teams. How much can that transfer portal be of assistance, especially as we hear across all levels of college sports, allegations of tampering and things like that? So what's your take on the portal, and how helpful can it be to get some experience when you've got a young team thanks to players you're losing to the draft?
Right. Well, we've continue to try to build our team through recruiting quality high school talent. And we use the portal sort of as you would use free agency in the NFL. When we feel like we have a need at a position, we would look and see if anybody's available in the portal that would, you know, help us at that particular position. And I think this year we brought 5 guys in from the portal to complement. I think we had like 28 freshmen maybe to go with that. But I do agree with you that having experienced players, if they're the right kind of guys and they're the right kind of people and they understand the culture of what you're trying to accomplish, can be very beneficial to your team. But I think those players need to play if they're in the transfer portal, and we should therefore need them to play. There should be some need at their position so they have an opportunity to be able to contribute, and I think that's the case in most positions where we took guys this year out of the portal. Jahmyr Gibbs was a great example of a guy out of the portal who made a significant contribution to our team a year ago. But the team has to be willing to embrace those players, which our team has always done a really good job of, and they've done the same this year.
Coach, we'll go here in the center aisle, right on the near aisle.
Kirk Bowles from the Austin American-Statesman. Nick, do you have any specific impressions from your last encounter with Texas, and could you evaluate their readiness to play in this league?
Well, I can't evaluate their readiness to play in any game. I don't coach their team. I think Sark's a great coach, and I think he'll have them ready. But I think Texas has a lot of players back from last year's team. Obviously, it was a really close, tough game. You know, last year when we played that game, I think they're doing an outstanding job of recruiting. They're doing an outstanding job of developing the players on our team and on their team, and it's going to be a real challenging game, no doubt, because they have a lot of starters back and they have a lot of experience coming back and experienced quarterback. So we expect them to have an outstanding team.
Coach, we'll go over to our right-hand side, over to the right, far section.
Hey, good morning, Coach. George Somerville from the Touchdown in the United Kingdom. You've got a player on the roster from Finland, and you've just recruited the #1 player in Germany. As the game grows outside of the US, how necessary and how realistic is it that your recruitment expands with that?
Yeah, well, I think things are obviously a little more global maybe than they've ever been. I think, you know, football is creating a little more of an international brand in terms of where they're playing, who's playing, how they're playing. So we had the opportunity with both, our punter is also from Australia, but we've had the opportunity to get to know these young men that we recruited from Europe, really because they came and spent a significant amount of time with us, whether it was in camp or visiting or whatever, so that we could determine, do they have the right stuff to be able to compete at this level. It was pretty easy to see they had the talent to do it, but could they understand that this is a little more competitive? The quality of ball was going to be a little different, and how are you going to respond to that? But we were excited, and with the players that we have that are international players on our team right now, and the ones that we've recruited in the past, they've all made a significant contribution. You know, Jesse Williams was one of the first from Australia, and defensive lineman who was an outstanding player, played for the Seahawks for 4 or 5 years. So, and we feel like these guys that we've recruited, you know, Olas is on our team right now and developing nicely, and we had the young man from Germany in our camp this summer and was very impressed with him. So good additions to our team. Glad to have the opportunity.
And we have time for 2 more. We'll start over in that same section on the right.
Hey, Coach. Steve Moulton, WCZN out of Huntsville, Alabama. Hope you're doing well. First, favorite cake. Want to know your favorite cake since you mentioned that in your opening statement, but I would like you to speak to your quarterback room and your expectations to that this fall.
Yeah, well, carrot cake, that's easy. Look, I talked about expectations before, and we're focusing on how do we develop the players that we have, and we want to develop all the players. You know, everybody wants to know who the starter is. What about the backup guy who has to go in and play, like Jalen Milroe did last year against Texas A&M, how he finished the Arkansas game? It's important that all these guys continue to develop, and everybody at that position develops into where they can play winning football. I just think that I use the cake analogy because it's not done yet. It's not, there's not a decision that needs to be made at this point in time, nor are we ready to make that decision at this time until somebody separates themselves. But expectations, we want somebody to play winning football at that position. You know, quarterback is a unique position in that you distribute the ball on every play, whether you hand it off, whether you choose the play that we run, whether you hand it off, whether you throw an advantage throw, making decisions in the passing game to throw it to the right guys at the right time in the right place and accurately. So who can do that with the most consistency and be a leader on our team who has an impact on the other players is also important, because quarterback may be one of the most difficult positions to play if the people around you don't play well. So I think that's a challenge for us too, is to get the people around our quarterbacks to play well, so that's a little easier for them to be able to have success at the position when they get the opportunity.
Coach, we'll take one final question right in front.
Good morning, Coach. Ken Capps from Football Writers of America. I know it's 1 year away, but what impact do you think bringing Texas and Oklahoma is going to mean to the SEC?
Oh, I think it's a great addition to the SEC. I mean, you've got 2 great programs that have great traditions, that have great fan support. I think it, you know, just continues to sort of the map of the SEC. It just stronger than ever. I think the competition is going to be, it's always been difficult. It's going to be even more challenging because you've got 2 really, really good programs who have consistently, if you look at the past, have been, you know, top 10 programs for a lot of years, won national championships. So they're going to add a lot to the competition. I think with the new scheduling that we'll have in the future, it's more good games for fans, more diversity in who you play. So there's a lot of positives, you know, about it. From a coaching standpoint, it's going to be much more challenging to be able to compete week in and week out, because I think when you look at the SEC, the thing that separates it is not the top, but the depth. how many good teams there are. There was one year where I think we played 9 teams. We won the championship where we played 9 teams that were in the top 15 or something. I can't remember what year, and a lot of that was playing good teams in the playoffs. You play a good team in the SEC championship game, but you also played a whole bunch of good teams throughout the course of the season. And that's one of the biggest challenges, I think, to be able to play with a level of consistency when you have 6, 7, or 8 really difficult games as opposed to 2 or 3. Because consistency and performance and playing at a high level becomes a premium, which in all sports, that's always the challenge. How are we going to play this day? And how are we going to accept this challenge and do it week in and week out?
Coach, thank you for your time this morning.
All right, well, I'd like to take an opportunity to thank you all for what you do for college athletics. You create a lot of interest to the fan base, and a lot of positive self-gratification for, the players who play the game. And I know that we all appreciate that. You create great brands for a lot of programs, and you create a lot of interest in college football. So we thank you very much for that, and we appreciate you more than you know. So thank you very much, and roll tide. Thanks.
That was Alabama head coach Nick Saban meeting the media here for the first time here at SEC Media Days, day 3 of SEC Media Days here on Talking Ball, brought to you, of course, that whole conversation brought to you by Talent Heating and Air. Let's get that break in, because when we return, we will wrap up Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air back in studio with us. And Thomas, those temperatures in the summertime starting to rise once again. You want to make sure you're not left out in the heat. You want some cold AC, give Talent Heating and Air a call.
That's right. If you give us a call, we can generally get out there the same day. So we pride ourselves on the same day service.
And what's that number?
256-503-4490.
And if those AC units are giving you the blues and you've already called someone else, never fear, give Talent Heating and Air a call, because you guys can still come out.
That's right. We do free second opinions on major repairs and quotes. A lot of times we save our customers thousands of dollars and additionally get their units repaired before the other guy could even get started.
And that number for Talent Heating and Air is?
256-503-4490.
And if you can't give Talent Heating and Air a call, you can find them online at
talenthvac.com.
Schedule all your appointment service calls there. Talent Heating and Air. Give them a call or find them online today.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant Bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right, even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed.
This is nothing, though. Yesterday, it was more chaotic in here. It was way more chaotic yesterday.
Richard Hendricks. Nice to meet you.
From Athens. Played ball for Alabama. Played a lot of years overseas. Uh-oh. You're good. There you go. Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, and Drew. It's always fun to see who just might show up at SEC Media Days.
Hey, the funny thing is this is how I met Richard. I met him one time in Hoover.
Yeah.
Because I saw him walking down Radio Row, and it was football week. I didn't care because I'm a basketball guy first. Everybody knows that. I followed him to where he was getting coffee. And then we brought him down and recorded something. So,
yeah.
I mean, absolutely. It's great to see Richard in his new backyard, by the way.
Richard Hendricks joining us. Yeah. The Athens, Alabama, now Nashville.
Yeah, I'm everywhere. A little bit of deja vu here for Drew. So you see me on Radio Row. You'll catch me at a media day just walking around. So glad to be here.
Yeah, you obviously attended basketball media days. Your thoughts here, though, on these nice football media days?
Well, listen, I love the energy of media days. When you get a chance to listen to all of the coaches talk about their teams, talk about the preparation from the offseason, and moving in forward to getting excited about the first game, there's no better way to jump off the season than media days. So anytime I can be in the venue, as a former player, it gets my blood rolling. I'm ready to play myself. Doesn't matter the sport.
Did you hear Nick Saban at all? Did you get to hear Coach?
I did. I listened to him. He said a lot of good things about his program and the state of it. And, it's always good to hear, your school, Alabama's coach, speaking about his team and the last season and what the plans are and the expectations are for the program moving forward, which are always the same when you hear Nick Saban speak. Excellence. That's what it is.
Well, and it certainly is, but I'd be remiss. We hadn't had a chance to speak with you since Alabama wrapped up their season, and we saw in basketball, and we saw 3 assistant coaches move on. You knew Pet very well. He helped recruit you, no question about that. And certainly a lot of change, but still a lot of forward momentum, and one of the best seasons we've seen. And what Nate Oates has done has been pretty remarkable in just 4 years, Richard.
Definitely one of the best seasons that Alabama basketball has done. I mean, when you talk about in recent years, just a few years on the sideline, Nate Oates, and 2 SEC tournament and regular season titles. I mean, seriously, and this is not just to talk about it because my school. He's really moved himself amongst the top ranks of the coaches in the SEC and not just the country. Last season, over 30 wins, an SEC title, and with an opportunity to try to do something that Alabama never done, but get into a Final Four, but coming up short. I mean, he's done a tremendous job, and the future still looks bright for Alabama basketball.
Weird having to know a new roster. I mean, because you played in the game where when you get there for year 1, chances are you're going to be there 2, 3, or maybe even 4. Now it's 1 year, new faces. I mean, this is like a completely different thought process for college basketball.
It is, and really what it's like, it's almost like professional basketball.
Okay.
I mean, I know college is supposed to be college, and a lot of times players come in and develop over a longer period of time, but you get an opportunity where you see roster turnover every single year. And the key to it is to see what head coaches can make that adaptation as quickly as possible. Nate Oates has done a tremendous job, and plenty of the coaches in the SEC. You have to get with the program. It's a new era. You're talking about name, image, and likeness. You're talking about the transfer portal. You better get with the program or you're going to get left behind.
And I think that's one thing that he's adapted to remarkably well, even with having to put together a new staff, Richard. And we've never seen that. I haven't seen it in any staff I can remember. I know Duke's had so much success, Carolina, to lose all 3 in 1 year, but to do that and still have the portal additions he's had and put the roster together, and to have Bediako leave late, and and also Javon Quinterly, I think the roster looks extremely promising, and I think that speaks to what you're talking about with Coach Oates being already considered an elite guy.
Yeah, and he has a creative style of basketball that fits perfectly to the transfer portal. When you have a system when players can come right in and have the freedom to shoot, and the only thing that you really demand from them is a defensive effort, now you're talking about an opportunity where players can fit in seamlessly and you can keep the ball rolling quickly. When you have an intricate offense that requires a lot of players to come in and learn something over a long period of time, you can see some struggling, but Alabama is able to reload, and that's the benefit of what Nate Oates has been able to implement at Alabama in this new era of college basketball.
Richard Hendricks joining us. I know we're here for a football media days, but when Richard Hendricks sits down, I mean, we want to get you on as much as we can. Hey, I got to ask you real fast, though. I'm sure you saw the video. When you were back playing, would you have loved to have gone to Drake's house like Kentucky did this past week and have a practice at Drake's mansion and be able just to hang out during the offseason?
Well, wherever I'm playing, listen, if you're out there on the court, I'm going to try to give it to you. So Drake, whoever it is, they can get it on whatever court, at their house, in my backyard, it doesn't matter. If you're out there, it's check ball and let's play.
Yeah, no doubt. And I wanted to ask you, too, because I know you recently helped Danny Anderson, a good friend of mine, once again. It looked like you'll have another great turnout for the camp, man, this summer.
Athens High School basketball and, Coach Danny Anderson and Coach Capri Tucker for the women's team has done a tremendous job trying to get Athens basketball back to the level it was in which when I played there almost 20 years ago. I don't need to say that too loudly, do I? But
no, it's wow.
Well, I'm 48 now, too, so we both getting up there.
But, I was excited that when Coach Anderson was hired, they called me up immediately and invited me back into the fold. After my father was the head coach there and also the assistant coach there for over 30 years, Athens basketball was who I am. It made me who I was as a player. So to be invited back into the fold and help out the program by bringing my style and flavor to the kids' camp every single summer, it's been a tremendous thing for not just Athens basketball, for Athens High School in the city of Athens to have almost 200 kids come to camp every single summer and try to get better.
And I'm glad you brought up Bernard, because congratulations to him. He's a Hall of Famer now.
Yes.
And deserves it, because he's given his entire life to Athens, not just as a coach and mentor, but playing at Athens State. He's one of the all-time great players there, and he's just been such a great influence in the community. And congratulations to your father.
Thank you so much. I'll accept that. Congratulations on his behalf. I mean, tremendous career. I played for him, but not just as a head coach, but as a player. Athens College won conference champions, the NAIA leader in shot blocks in a season. Was the tennis head coach at Athens High School for over 30 years, winning 3 state championships in a three-peat in 91, 92, 93. On the 5A level, and getting Athens High School basketball to their final highest finish ever, 33-3 back-to-back Final Fours, a state championship appearance, and, so happy to see him get his flowers.
I see you picking up the tennis racket now. I see you.
Listen, I like to play a little bit now. Now that I'm done, I got to find something to stay active. Listen, I'm competitive now. I'm competitive. I got begged all the time when he was the coach. You need to come out and play doubles. You could win a state championship.
Right.
I never did it. And I look back now, and I should have played every sport I possibly could have in high school. I think I could have been competitive at it. But, it was just a different era, specialization.
Right.
But
I had a lot
speaking of
fun
that,
with
we thought you might be J.C. Latham back 20 years ago.
Man,
but,
his hands.
I'm just telling you, and I've shook Richard's hands. I mean, Richard did look like an offensive tackle when he was a freshman at Athens High School. I can tell you that. I watched his entire career.
Well, we didn't mean to keep you so long. I know you've got a busy schedule, but, man, thank you for sitting down and chatting with us.
Always great joining you guys, and love it.
Yeah, love it, man. We love to see you. Welcome. We're glad to be in your backyard, and we want to continue to see you grow as an analyst. You're one of the best young ones in the business.
You are, we're not exaggerating.
You're a young analyst.
Yes, we're not exaggerating when we say you are an analyst, and you are becoming very good at what you're doing.
Well, thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right, Richard Hendricks, kind enough to joining us here on Radio Row for just a little bit. And like I said, Drew, you never know. You never know who you're going to run into.
It's free flow radio, you know what I'm saying? And we found out Nick Saban likes carrot cake.
Did that question bug you at all that he asked about?
No, I mean, the second part of it was really good about the quarterbacks because he kind of equated it because he was trying to bake a cake. So I understood.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's what this Alabama roster is this year, right? I mean, it's
a little bit.
Kind of added a little bit of things to it, and they're going to pour it into the pan, and they're going to turn the heat on, and they're going to bake it and cook it.
So our station's 8 for 8. We've been able to get questions to these head coaches, and it was good. It was, and I think Coach Saban liked where his team is. We'll see. Fall camp's going to be very interesting. Get some position battles that have got to take place, and then the 2 scrimmages. But they've got the bones to have a really good team, and I hope there's a lot of people that think they're the 3rd best team in the SEC. You can do that at your own peril.
All right, we've got a few more minutes left here.
We do.
And Nick, so Nick was in there about 35, 40 minutes worth of conversation for Nick Saban today, and he has now made all those rounds. We've heard from J.C. Latham and Dallas Turner and Kool-Aid McKinstry so far, and Ryan Fowler back with us. Ryan, was there something that caught your attention from the coach?
Well, I'm going to tell you the comment that we'll grab, and because we all need something into that quarterback competition. He said at this point, none of the 3 guys have had any separation.
And I'm not surprised by that, Ryan.
We're not, but I mean, when he says it,
right,
that becomes the stinger. I mean, he said it. He said, at this point, there is no separation. So you have to go back and apply. In the spring, there was no separation, and now Tyler Buckner.
Exactly. That's why Tyler Buckner is in town.
Yeah.
And that's what basically, in code, that's what Nick Saban is saying if you follow the program and know.
Well, and he also went to the transfer portal and said, we only take guys that we think can contribute.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I think they took an underrated class. We'll see. We haven't seen a couple of them like Jalen Key and Trey Amos. But I think they both can contribute to the secondary. They lost a couple guys. Remember, Scott, we talked about it, but with 2 weeks to go in the spring, Jarquez Robinson went into the portal and then Traquan Fagan. So they had to replace that depth. And Trey Amos is a guy that can play the corner spot. Jalen Key's a very experienced safety coming from UAB that can give you some physicality, potentially a strong safety. So that's competition for Malachi Moore. I don't think Caleb Downs is coming out of the lineup. And Malachi's played a lot of football. But, again, you got to have depth, too, because Nick Saban referenced depth in the conversation in the main media room as well because, as he said, in the SEC, a lot of times why it's so tough is the middle of the league is so good. Well, you got to have depth when guys go down and be able to step up. They didn't have enough depth in 2021, and that's why Georgia won the national championship.
Well, I do expect to see 2 quarterbacks against Middle Tennessee in that home opener. Do we see 3 quarterbacks in that game?
Hell no.
And to think about this, though, is you got to do it. You got to win the job now with less reps.
Right.
Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson, you go from 50 to a third. That's a challenge.
And I don't think they'll be rotating him against Texas. Somebody's going to separate themselves.
Well, that's why I said
and
game one.
That's the only way they're going to beat Steve Sarkisian and the Texas Longhorns.
I agree with you on game one. We'll play multiple quarterbacks.
We'll see it
Agreed
all.
there.
All right. We're done.
Appreciate
3
it, Ron.
hours. We did
You're
3 hours again today. We're done.
I do 4 in Tuscaloosa.
We only do 2 every
And I'll be a
day.
part of that.
Yes, he will.
Part of the Chuck Oliver Show coming up, and it's coming up at 10 o'clock.
All right, there you go. We're done. We'll be back at it tomorrow. We'll wrap up SEC Media Days tomorrow. Don't forget, you got the Tom Abraham Show, Paul Feinbaum, The Drive, everybody coming up afterwards.